We have Mr. Hamid Khan from Pakistan. He will be speaking to us today. We have Mr. Rahman Fahim. He will be speaking to us. And we also have our prof here, Professor Raghavendra. I'm sorry if I'm murdering names. I'm very sorry. It's just my names. I'm sure by the time they come up, they'll pronounce their names better. But please forgive me in case they're on this Zoom and I didn't pronounce their name very well. Very, very sorry about that. And we also have Mr. Mayoko Iyaomolere from Nigeria. He'll be speaking to us. And I also have my co-moderator here on the Zoom call, Ambassador Adebute Joshua. So we are welcoming you to the program today, and it promises to be an awesome time together. We are going to learn so much, and let's also use our the chat room to introduce ourselves. Just say your name. Just write your name there and greet everyone using the chat. Using the chat box. So
hello.
So Mr. Can you hear me? Can people still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Mr. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just wanted to be sure people can hear me. So we'll be having the president of GCCI Lagos State, and he will be giving the opening speech for today's meeting. Ambassador John, over to you, sir. Ambassador John, are you there? I hope it's not his network. Ambassador John.
Okay, I'm with you.
All right. So you have the floor now, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. I want to use this opportunity to welcome you to this great event. I strongly believe that after this event, it's going to be interesting, like I said earlier, informative and educative. So please, on behalf of Global Environmental and Climate Conservation Initiative and our co-partner, Up Movement, I want to use this opportunity we have come to learn. The subject is still the positive impact of youth in achieving the SDGs. The positive impact of youth in achieving the SDG. 7 things. Number 1, we should desire. Like I said, there is so many problems in the country, and the government cannot provide everything for us. So we are here to desire. When you desire, we try to inquire. As we are inquiring, we should acquire. We are here in this platform to acquire knowledge. And so the teaching is going to be based on practical illustration. The teaching, our guest speaker are ready, our moderator are ready. So when we desire, we inquire, we acquire, we should admire. Acquire in this Zoom meeting. And after that, you perspire. Let there be an hunger. There should be a test, a quest for knowledge. And finally, you are inspired. Desire, acquire, inquire, admire. It is required, perspire, and inspire. Thank you so much. I open this floor. I open this meeting right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. President of GCCI, for the opening speech. Okay, so much were loaded in those words of yours that we should expect. I just want to confirm if everyone can hear me. So thank you so much for that opening speech. Just like you've said in your opening remark, there's so much for everyone.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. There's so much for everyone to take from today's meeting. So without much ado, I just want to confirm before introducing our first speaker. I don't know if Mr. Mayoko is online. I just need to be sure it's online. Our first speaker for the day. Just want to be sure it's online so that we can kickstart in earnest. Mr. Mayoko, I don't know if you're online. You can hear me.
Yeah, good morning. I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm. So, Mr. Mayokun Yaomoleri is our first speaker for the day. I will be taking the citation now to introduce him so that we'll get to be more intimate with who he is and understand the stuff he's loaded with to release to as many of us that are present here today. Mayokun Yaomoleri hails from Ilaje local government area of Ondo State, Nigeria. He backed an MSc in Environmental Control and Management from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, that's Great Ife, where he's currently running a PhD in the same discipline. He's an ardent greener and sustainable development promoter. He founded Plugin Nigeria Club on June 2nd, 2018. Plugin is a combination of jogging plus picking litters for body fitness and environmental cleanliness. The club, as an organization with over 1,500 volunteers, is currently present in 18 higher institutions across Nigeria, with a community club in Ajah, Lagos. Under his leadership, the club has organized more than 170 plugin collect episodes, covering 316 kilometer space in various communities and campuses, collecting over 4,400 bags of litters and recovered over 74,000 PET plastic bottles from the environment. The club also runs a Green Switch Academy and has directly trained and engaged via virtual bi-monthly workshop more than 500 young people on the subject of environmental sustainability. Among other honors, Plugin Nigeria Club, which he founded, was recognized as one of the top 10 global recycling heroes by the Globe's Recycling Foundations in 2020. Mayokun is an unrepentant denthrop who passionately and professionally leads action for an environmental sustainability, conscious to make a positive impact in his world, driven towards its fulfillment by individual institution. No doubt our speaker is fully loaded with practical and well-equipped knowledge base to inform us so much today. He will be taking the first section of the speech. Apologies for not introducing myself first. I am Ambassador Joshua, and I'm the co-moderator of today's event. So as we'll be having our first speaker now, in the course of this presentation, if you have any question to ask, anything that you need clarity on, please feel free to drop your questions on the chat box. I will compile the questions, and at the end of our speakers, at the end of the first section of the lecture, we'll give room to throw the questions to our speaker to help us to share insights in. We'll be taking us on what is sustainable development from MDGs to SDGs. Some of us have had this concept before, but we'll be doing a lot of good for us today by helping us to bisect this topic. So I want you to please sit tight as we have our first speaker come up. Sit tight, get a pen and paper for jottings, and feel free to ask questions. Just drop your question on the chat box so that we have a smooth session. this is our first speaker for today, so that we have a smooth section. So if you have any question in the course of the teaching, or maybe you thought it would address one or two things, but probably it didn't touch it, so just feel free to drop your questions on the chat box in relation to MDG transition to SDGs and what SDGs is about, and we'll give him some time to help us address it. On this note, I would love to call up our first speaker, Mr. Mayokun, to have the platform. Mr. Mayokun, over to you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, across different parts of the world. It's a huge pleasure, it's a huge honor to be on this program and to speak in the midst of astute sustainable development proposals and environmental advocates. So I appreciate the opportunity given me by GPCI, the leadership under Mr. Ambassador John, and every other member of the team. Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible, please.
Oh, yes, we can hear you clearly.
You are. Go on.
Okay, thank you very much. So my presentation will be a very brief one, and it's just an introduction to take us into this whole conference. So I'm going to lay the background, the background for sustainable development and help some of us to understand this better. I'm sure it's not an unfamiliar term for many of us here. We just might not have thoughts about or giving intentional acts and thoughts and acts towards implementing it in all of our activities,
Hello.
Okay, sorry everyone, I had a brief network challenge. Please, am I back to being audible?
Did we lost him? Because I don't think I can hear anyone speaking.
Hello everyone, Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I'm very sorry for the break in transmission, network challenge here. So as I was saying, sustainable development revolves around the idea of living and helping other people live sustainably. For my personal definition, I call it a live and let's live policy. Live and let others live policy. So sustainable development is the idea that human societies must live and meet their needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The whole sustainable development concept came up sometime in the late 1980s in something called Developmental. Okay, I'm seeing messages that I am not audible. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So the concept of sustainable development means managing the resources we have on the planet today, and also for our effective and efficient living as humans, and also not depriving the generation coming after us of the ability to be able to live and have access to some of the resources. Now, a simple case is the fossil fuel, the non-renewable energy petroleum that we extract all over the world today. And we are extracting this so much at a rate that because of the increasing population, we are extracting it so much at a rate that it cannot get replenished. Now, there have been speculations that in a number of years, this petroleum resources, this fossil fuel, even minerals that we extract will be exhausted. And the generation coming after us will not have access to some of these resources. So sustainable development now comes in as a concept to properly plan and efficiently plan our use of resources for this generation, for those of us that are presently inhabiting the planet. And also how we can leave some resources to cater for the incoming generation so they will not be deprived of these resources that are fundamental to their living. Please, if you are following, you can just drop comments and all of that in the chat room so I know I'm being followed. Now, an example, last year in August, I think around August 22 was Earth Overshoot Day. What Earth Overshoot Day means is that it's the date where humans, the totality of humans on the planet, begin to use resources meant for the next year. Now, for 2020, we began to use resources meant for 2022 on August 22, 2020. Sorry, we began to use resources meant for 2021 this year on August 22, 2020. Now, this is calculated in a way with respect to the quantity of resources left on the planet, and in harmony with the population of humans. So on August 22, just 2 months after the middle of the year, we had already started to dip our hands into resources that was meant for this year. So that tells us that before the end of this year, we'll also begin to use resources meant for 2022. And if it continues, if this trend continues, it will be difficult to have some resources left for the generation that's coming after us. So that is what the whole concept of sustainable development revolves around. Making use of resources as humans to meet our needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Okay, moving on. So I'm sure many of us have heard we know about the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and how it's an initiative of the United Nations. I started in 2015 to expire by 2030, and it's a key part of this topic, the role of it in achieving the SDGs. Now, before the SDGs, there was the MDGs, which means the Millennium Development Goals. These MDGs, they were set up at the turn of the millennium. That's in the year 2000, when we stepped into the new millennium that we are in now. It was a part of the Millennium Declaration, and the aim of the MDGs generally was to combat poverty and yes, and hunger around the world. So it revolved so much around social justice and improvement of lives, especially for the developing countries. That was the SDGs, and it was instituted in the year 2000, and it had a 15-year period for execution. And for many of us that remember that time, there was a lot of talk about MDGs. In Nigeria, for example, a lot of offices were set up, MDGs office and all of that. And when we got to 2015, yes, some sources had been recorded. The MDGs had they were 8 in number. Let me quickly mention them. The first one was eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combating HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, ensure environmental sustainability, and the last one, develop a global partnership for development. So from this, I just mentioned this, you see that the SDGs, the MDGs, I mean, Millennium Development Goals, were most centered around poverty, hunger, and health. So most of the goals were focused on that, on improving the health and the poverty levels across countries. But there were shortcomings for the MDGs, as the MDGs were focused only on developing countries. And at the United Nations level, the developed countries
Hello? Can anybody?
Sorry, let's just hang on. I guess our speaker is having some form of network issues. Let's just hold on a bit. Sorry, Mr. Mayoko, it seems your network is quite poor. We don't know if you can help us adjust it a bit. It's breaking.
Thank you. Sorry, it's network challenges here. Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, the MDGs were the developed countries were to finance the MDGs and to help the developing countries improve their poverty levels and improve their healthcare systems and all of that. The MDGs were at that time, we saw them as a good revolution because the United Nations before then had been operating in more silos. There was no strong uniting framework. The United Nations has a lot of agencies: United Nations Environment Program, UNICEF, WHO, this and that, UNFCCC, United Nations Disaster Risk. So there were a lot of independent United Nations agencies. But the MDGs provided a platform for all of them to function, to contribute to a global agenda. So at that time, the MDGs was seen as a revolution. And it was great because it laid a solid foundation for what would later become the MDGs. But though it had its shortcomings, and one major one was the fact that it was focused only on the developing countries, and the developed countries were expected to provide aids for the developing countries to improve the state of poverty, to health status of their countries. So in 2015, when the MDGs expired, there was need to, of course, all the goals that had been set were not met. So there was need to, re-strategize and see how the world could improve upon the goals that were already set before and still try to achieve the ones that were not met. And another thing about the MDGs, it was a top to bottom approach. It was the United Nations that just gathered a group of an open working group who came up with the 8 MDGs and presented it to the whole world. But after 2015, or in the build up to 2015, when the MDGs were to expire, the United Nations took another approach, a more inclusive approach that involved everybody, that involved a lot of stakeholders to develop what later became the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So the Sustainable Development Goals, the whole set of
We lost him again.
Okay, these are one of the reasons why we need sustainable development in Nigeria. Network issues. Sorry, Mr. Mayoko, we cannot hear you. Hello, Mr. Mayoko.
Yeah, I'm back now. Sorry again, network. So the SDGs, there are 17 of them, like most of us, like many of us already know. And these 17 goals are centered on 3 major pillars: the environment pillar, the economic pillar, and the social pillar. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that the MDGs were more of a social development, agenda. The SDGs in turn took in the environment sector and also took in the economic sector. So the SDGs was a very important upgrade in 2018 from MDGs. 17 goals, 17 goals with 3 pillars, and some people say we have 5 principles of the SDGs. We have the planet, we have people, we have prosperity, we have partnerships, and we have peace. So all of these principles and these pillars are the focus on which the Sustainable Development Goals are hinged. And each of these 17 goals fall under one of the pillars, whether it's the environment or economic or social pillar. And pardon me, yes, these SDGs, rather than instead of the way the MDGs came into being, had, like I mentioned there, like a lot of organizations in the build-up. And beyond focusing on just developing countries, the SDGs focused on the entire world. Like it covered developed countries and developing countries. So everybody is involved in the quest to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, because the developing countries, the developed countries, each country has its own challenges, and it was actually unfair, though there were reasons for it, that the developed countries were just sending in aid for the MDGs to be achieved in other countries. So the SDGs took a better approach of involving developed and developing countries, and rather than just send aid from one country to another to help in the actualization of these SDGs, each country in its own right, about 193 countries are signatory to the SDGs. So each country has been advised to come up with internal means to generate funds that will help to actualize the Sustainable Development Goals. And we can also see the proliferation of the SDGs in many parts of our country, in Nigeria, for example. And I'm sure the SDGs is a very huge topic in India too, in Pakistan, whatever country you are in, the SDGs must have been mentioned, and it's finding ways to execute projects to help in the actualization of the 17 goals, and the 169 targets, and the 231 indicators. That's the unique indicators. So that's the summary of the Sustainable Development Goals. And bringing this more personally to us as individuals, as people working to promote sustainability in our own rights, it behooves on each of us to know which of the goals our work, our career, our professions relates to, and how we are going to tap into SDGs, how we are going to help in the actualization of some of it. And that also takes us to the place of youth, the role of youth in achieving that. Once again, I make reference to my country, Nigeria. In Nigeria, the larger percentage of the population are youth, and we have a population of over 200 million, and a huge percentage of the population are youth. Now, imagine all this percentage, about 43% of it. Imagine this number are involved in pushing for actualization of the SDGs in Nigeria. Yes, in Nigeria, it has been more of the youth pushing this, but we also need more youth. We need more people to be involved, to help, to bring to understanding, to help other people to be aware about the SDGs, the role they are playing in our societies, and how we need to continue to intentionally take actions towards their fulfillment and actualization, hopefully before 2030. And I'm sure this condition is the same in India, that the youth are actively involved, and they are pushing in their own rights, they are pushing in their own might, how to help to actualize the SDGs, whether it's a particular SDG they are working on or the whole of the 17 SDGs. And so I would advise those of us that are on this call, if you're working in an industry, if you're working in a company, if you have an organization you're running, if you have a personal program, a personal community development program you're pushing, please always align it with the SDGs. I'm going to use my organization as an example, Plugging Nigeria Club. Plugging means jogging and picking it up. So plugging, our mission here in Nigeria is to promote a culture of responsible waste and physical fitness. So for waste handling, for example, and physical fitness, which defines our scope of operations, it keys into many of the SDGs. I'll begin from the first one. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. No poverty is the first SDGs. That's the scope of the operations of my organization does not involve that. The next one is zero hunger, and then we have good health and well-being. Now, my organization deals in jogging and physical, cleaning the environment and jogging for physical fitness. So somehow it connects to the third SDGs, which is good health and well-being. We help to improve our people's physical well-being and their mental alertness. Moving on to the fourth one, quality education, gender equality, quality education. Okay, we don't do much of that, so that does not really align with what we do. Gender equality. In our operations as an organization, we have a network of about 1,500 volunteers around our country here in Nigeria. And in our operations, we ensure that we alternate roles of men and women. So a particular gender is not just leading and pushing the activities. Men and women are consistently functioning, and based on your competence and ability to achieve. Then moving on to affordable and clean energy. Okay, we don't really do much of that in our organization, so we don't connect with that. Then decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, responsible consumption and production. Okay, that is one way we also contribute to, because we are preaching sustainable waste management as an organization. So we definitely contribute. We make efforts to interact with consumers and producers to be more responsible with the whole, with the waste, with the packaging and how they manage it. Then moving on to climate action, because every action to help the environment become better contributes to helping to make our climate better, contribute to helping to reduce global warming, and it generally affects the state of the environment. Then life below water. We work on the land, but our activities extend to the life below water, because we know, we must have seen, or we must have heard, and we have not heard before, many of the plastic we generate around the world, for example, many of the waste we generate.
Please, Mr. Michael, could you please try to wrap up in next 2-3 minutes? Time is up.
Okay, definitely. All right.
3 minutes.
So the essence, yeah. All right. I was explaining all of that to see how my organization contributes to attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal. So in your individual, organizational, and corporate efforts, whatever you're doing, whatever country you are in, please know the specific SDGs you are working on. Sometimes it might be difficult to define the scope exactly, because many of these SDGs are intertwined, and you're working here and just to affect this one. But always define and know which SDGs you're working on, and mention it in your operations, let it show in your work, let people know, let your volunteers, let your participants, let your partners, let us stakeholders, let them know that they are working in this space.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayo. Thanks for that wonderful section. I want to believe others can hear me, please. Please, if your mic is not muted, help us mute your mic. If your mic is not muted, please help us mute your mic. Please, if your mic is not muted, help us mute it. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayokun, for that section. We are really grateful. Please, I can still hear lots of background noises. Please, if your mic is not muted, could you please help us mute your mic so that we could have a clean meeting? We don't know if Prof is online, Prof Raghavendra. Just want to confirm the presence of Prof. As I confirm the presence of Prof, key things that, for as many of us that paid rapt attention, we can take away from Mr. Mayokun's presentation. One, whatever you are doing, try to link it to the SDG goals, whatever you are doing. Every action we carry out, be it a movement, be it a workshop, be it an NGO, whatever we do, it has linked to one of the 17 goals of the SDGs. Whatever we are doing, it has linked to one of the 17 goals of the SDGs. So that's one key thing I think we need to take away. Much has been said on MDGs, the SDG goals and all. Whatever we are doing, try to see how you can link it. Because just like the president said, it's a collective effort to the fulfillment of the SDG goals. Thank you so much for that. That was a nice presentation. Please, the attendance link has been dropped on the chat box. Please, in case you've not filled the attendance, please try to fill the attendance list as soon as you see it on the chat box. I'll try to repost it again. For those that have not seen it, it's important for us to take attendance of as many persons that are present for this conference. Thank you so much. I just want to confirm, please, is Prof. Raghavendra around? Just want to confirm if he's online. Prof, are you online? Mr. Obasi, I just want to confirm.
I don't think it's around. I'm not sure Prof is around.
Okay. I'm not sure Prof is around. But just before we even take the next speaker, I just want to hear from 1-2 persons also just before we take our next speaker around, which is Mr. Muhammad Ahmed. I can see that it's online already. Just want to hear from 1-2 persons. Can anyone else share what he picked? Just like in one sentence, someone else just share what he picked from Mr. Mayokun's section. We just have 1-2 persons. Just very quickly, can anyone, please, if you want to speak, you could just mute your mic, speak, then mute back, please. Anyone?
I think my name is someone called Thelma. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? I think the summary of what he said was a way to save the future, sustain energy for the future use, for the next generation. So it's just kind of an awareness for us to know how to or come with an idea or funds to raise in order to solve this future problem that we are seeing now. For example, we talked about eliminating poverty, and then he used petroleum as an example, how to sustain it, and so in summary, it's just to find ways to solve our big problem, even recent problems too.
Okay.
So I think that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Thelma. I think if I got the name correct, that's Thelma. Thank you so much for that. That showed you paid attention. And without taking much of our time, I would be having our next speaker now, which is Mr. Muhammad Ahmed Owak Khan. Sorry if I didn't get the pronunciation of your name accurately correctly, but at least I'm sure I got that Mr. Muhammad Ahmed correctly. Okay, just a brief introduction of who our next speaker is. Our next speaker is from the university, is a university professor in agricultural extension, is an educationist, is a researcher, is a motivational speaker, a community mobilizer, is a social activist. He has worked in multinationals and leading national organizations in agricultural sector for farmers and community for improvement of farm produce, trainings, competency buildings, and faculty development by higher education commissions and other activities for education and like activities. Our next speaker, which is Mr. Muhammad, has practically been involved in several of the SDG goals. We can see several of the goals being practicalized, not just knowing them, but practicalizing these goals. We have a lot to take away from this next section, and he'll be speaking to us on the result of the MDGs, from the MDGs to the SDGs. You know, there was a transition. What's the result? He has lots of practical experience and a lot of exposures to this. So I will be calling up next our next speaker, which is Mr. Mohammed, to give us good justice on the next topic. We are so happy to have you, sir, here. Over to you for your presentation.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, good morning,
Yes,
sir. We can hear you.
good morning, sir. We can hear you.
Good morning to everyone.
Good
May I
morning.
be heard by you people? Hello.
Yes,
We can hear you. Go on, sir.
Okay. One more thing that I am noticing, that someone, Sufyan Muhammad, he is also using my cam. This one is me, and Sufyan Muhammad is who is? I don't understand. He is using my cam. Host, please take the notice. Who is Mr. Sufyan Muhammad?
Okay, yes, another person is on, like Sufyan Mohammed. He's one of the
Yes.
participants.
No,
Okay.
I am Muhammad Hamid Nawaz Khan, but the person who is using my cam, he is also Sufyan Muhammad. I don't know who is he and how he is using me. Similarly, there are two different names, Ilhad, Farooq, and Ibrahim. Both are using the same. One person is using the same. On your screen, you can notice it.
I don't think I can notice it. They are different in my screen.
Yes, you can see it is Sufyan Muhammad, but it is Hamid Nawaz Khan. It is me.
I can see Sufyan Mohammed. I can see Ibrahim Babangada, and I can see you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I will share my screen and will tell you about the disabled sharing. You have disabled my screen sharing. I want to give the presentation. Now, third picture is
I'll enable you, sir. Just give me a second.
Sorry to cut you short, sir. Please, in the course of your presentation, we'll be sending you updates on your timing as a direct message. Please just help us to be checking your direct message. So we'll be giving you update on the timing. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I have sent you my presentation already.
Sir, you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm trying to share the screen and the presentations. But option is not here. Option is not here.
Sir, if you see your screen, there is an option, green color button to share your screen at the bottom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless you. Just a minute. No. It is visible to us. Is it visible to us?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can see your screen.
My screen is showing is visible to you all.
It is so.
Okay. First of all, I am very thankful for the opportunity from the platform of the organization and Lagos State Nigeria online SDG workshop. And thank you to the host, to the moderator, entire team of the organization. I want to introduce myself. I'm Muhammad Hamid Nawaz Khan. I am the faculty member and worked in different multinationals and the national organizations for more than round about 26 years. And again, I worked mostly in the field of agriculture, community mobilization, social activation of the farmers community, educating the people, and my entire ambition had been throughout my life to bring a positive, productive, and untiring inspirational attitudes among the youth of the country, because I am of the believability that youth are the future of a nation. They are the change agents in the social changing processes. I am faculty member in the agriculture extension education, and I have also worked for the National Financial Literacy Program of the State Bank of Pakistan. And similarly, I have worked in many organizations for the community mobilization, youth empowerment, knowledge building, as well as the knowledge enhancement and creating the employability skills among the youth for better future and positive role in the society. I am also director and founder of an organization that was established with me with a vision to empower the youth for employment and playing their positive roles in the society, that is named as Youth Empowerment and Employment Society. And the motto and mission of the organization is Born to Serve. We have to inculcate the attitude, the thought, the feelings in the minds of the youth that we are born to serve, not to serve.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt, but while you're sharing your screen, we can't see anything on your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can retry and share your screen like the presentation you want to share, because this is showing something else.
My screen is not visible to you people.
So your screen is visible, but the screen you have selected to show us is I think you have shared the wrong screen. We can't see your presentation.
Okay. I try again.
Yes, sir. Please.
No, it is.
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
No, it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Your presentation is visible now, sir.
Okay, thank you. I am still a learning person in the digital skills, as it is the blessing of COVID that we the old people have to learn the digital skills. This is Hamid Nawaz Khan, and it is my teacher, a renowned environmentalist and soil scientist Professor Dr. Shabir. He is working in the Qatar. It is worthy Vice Chancellor who had been virologist, and Professor Dr. Mukhtar. He is my boss, Professor Muazzam Jamil, and it is the Pakistan's great botanist and cotton botanist, Professor Dr. Iqbal Bandesha. These are the legends. It is a picture of 2018 when I proceeded the International Salinity Conference in Pakistan, focusing on the knowledge sharing and capacity building of the rural community and youth regarding the soil, water management, and climate tackling processes. Now, this is the positive impact of youth in agriculture in achieving sustainable development goals. These are the youth, these are the youth, they're jumping and they're smiling, they're so active. Inspirational pics indicate that they have the potential to bring change, they can do whatever they want, they have so much energy. These are the sustainable goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and the infrastructure improvement, reduced inequalities, sustainable uh, ICTs and the communities, and responsible consumption and the production, climate change, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. Now, what is the background of these Sustainable Development Goals? Sustainable Development Goals were developed by the United Nations Open Working Group on Sustainable Development between the March 14, 2013 to July 19, 2014. The post-2015 intergovernmental negotiations that was between the January 19 to August 2nd, 2015 took over the Sustainable Development Goals with a little bit minor changes. The goals became an integral part of the 2030 agenda, but it is important to keep in mind that the Sustainable Development Goals are just one of the 2030 agenda chapters. Among the preamble declaration, Sustainable Development Goals, targets, means of implementation, and the global partnership follow-up and review. Initially, unfinished business of the Millennium Development Goals, that was Sustainable Goals 1 to 5, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and the well-being, quality education, and gender equality. These were basically the Millennium Development Goals, and it was marked as the first 5 Sustainable Development Goals. New areas, new areas for the goals were identified. That was clean water, sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and the economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and the communities. One more step was taken as the green agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals that was included from Sustainable Development Goals 12 to 15, that was responsible consumption and production, climate change, life below the water, life on the land. These all 4 Sustainable Development Goals were also included as a green era. Governance, peace, justice, and strengthening of the institutions, it was also very vital as the early 15 goals were. So, Sustainable Development Goal number 16 was made to bring peace, justice, and strengthening of the institutions all over the world for the well-being and the prosperity of the universe. Now, there was a question how these all 16 development goals will be implemented. For that, 17 goal of the sustainable development was designed, that was partnership for the goals. It was not possible for a single government, for a single organization, for a single community to invest human resources, financial resources, and all the other technicalities that were required for the fulfillment of the development goals. So the collaboration, partnership, and interaction with the different organizations in the universe which were working for different causes was realized, and the 17 goal was designed. Inclusive and for all, if we see the sustainable development goals, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. We have to do our best, utilize our resources for ending the poverty wherever in the world, in whichever form it is. Either it is in the resources, or it is in the infrastructure, or it is in the economic well-being. End hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. As it was realized that food, shelter, and economics, these are the vital resources for the mental, physical, spiritual, intellectual development of the humanity. So, promoting the sustainable agriculture, as there was a huge changes in the atmosphere, water resources, climatic change, temperature changes, and other environmental factors. The per acre yield of the agriculture lands were being decreased, and the population explosion was there. There were a lot of mouths to be fed, but the resources were limited. Ensuring the lives and the promote well-being for all at all ages, whether it is a child, a girl, a man, woman, or a old man. He belongs to urban areas, rural areas, developing countries, developed countries, wherever he is. Insurance for the health and promotion of the well-being, psychological well-being, economic well-being was the target of sustainable development goals. Inclusion and equitable quality education and promoting the life learning skills and opportunities for all. It was also included because education is the basic right for every person who is in the universe. Every state, every community has to give life learning skills which will be helpful for the practical lives of the people, as well as the people who will do their best for the economic development and income increase of the country. Gender equality and empowering all women and girls were also included. It was realized that women are always equal, rather more than population of the society. So empowerment of the women, girls in education, in entrepreneurship, and equal opportunity for all levels of the life were granted. Availability and sustainable management of the water and sanitation for all. it was realized that healthy drinking water, sanitation facilities are guarantee for the health, are guarantee for the entertainment. And when health is there, people will be hardworking, productive, and they can do a lot. Ensuring the access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. As it is realized that energy is very important for performing different kind of the activities, so government and the community or the societies will make it possible that affordable, reliable, continuous supply of the energy, sustainable, it will be available to the people at lower cost for the maximum time, everyone, not for the specific people. Promoting sustained, inclusive, sustainable economic growth, full and product employment, and the decent work for all. Working conditions, economic growth, and sustainability was very essential for the people to be granted. Building the resilient infrastructure, promoting the inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster the innovation, technology, industry, and improvement in the infrastructure. These are the key factors which help for the economic growth, per capita income increase, and the availability of the good educational health services to the people. Reduce inequality within and among the countries. Reduction of the inequality, there should be equal opportunities for every period of life. If it is not so, then there will be crisis, there will be no peace, there will be no justice. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. This was very important, that we have to develop the agriculture products, their consumption, and also we have to change the eating habits of the people according to the needs of the time. There must be taken an urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, acknowledging that the United Nations Framework Convention of the Climate Change is primarily international intergovernmental forum for negotiating the global response to climate change. Climate change is a threat for whole universe. Industrialization, pollution, uh, uh, and rains, high temperatures, these are very crucial for the food production, agriculture issues in the world. Conservation and sustainability of the oceans, seas, marines, resources were very important. Protection, restoration, and promotion of the sustainable use of the terrestrial ecosystem, sustainability manage, combat desertification, and halt and reverse the land degradation and halt biodiversity losses. It was very important because due to the water logging, salinity, and other soil degradational processes, human activities, they were causing degradation of the biodiversity. Sustainable conservation of the biodiversity was very important. We have to keep the species of the offspring and promotion peaceful and inclusive societies for the sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Strengthening the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for the sustainable development. This was very important on international level, global level. Different countries, different organizations were doing their best for the uh, achievement of the sustainable development goals, for the survival. But if it was being repeated, it was being non-directional collaboration on the international level with the different funding organizations, research organizations, economic organization were necessary. So strengthening of these were focused. Now we have a question that why today's conference, webinar, discussion is focusing the positive impact of the youth on sustainable development achievements. What are the reasons that we have selected this theme? I have only one answer of this theme, and that is youth are the agents of change. Youth are the only agent of the change. And I will say it was truly said that youth is the gift of nature, but age is a work of art. It was truly said that nature has blessed everyone, this universe, with the youth, and how we have to mold their brains, how we can do best of their physical strengths, how can we do best of their emotional strengths. It is our art. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future. Now, this is only the way that we can get benefit from the physical health, emotional strength, inspirations, and vision of the youth. If we educate, if we bring positive changes in the attitudes of the youth, we can get a lot of benefits from their strength.
Sorry,
And critical role for the youth for
sorry,
achieving the
Mr. Muhammad. Sorry, Mr. Muhammad. Please, could you help us check your message box? A message was dropped for you there now. Your chat box. Please help us check it.
okay. We have to keep in mind that our people have to just a minute. Our people have to keep in mind that we are, I think my presentation is not there. Hello?
We can hear you, but we can't see your screen. Please help us to wrap up, sir, in the next 10 minutes. Our next speaker is online.
Okay. I'm going to close it. Presentation is visible to you people?
No, sir, it's not.
See your
It's not
presentation.
visible.
I am feeling an issue. Is it there now?
No, sir. No, sir.
Just a minute.
So maybe you could keep speaking so that we could also maximize time.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have to conclude that what is the critical role of the youth for achieving, why we are expecting the positive role from the youth, because they are the critical thinkers, change makers, innovators, communicators, leaders. Our youth are very important, and they are doing their best for having different kind of the activities. They are very important.
It's clear now, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. Critical thinking is very important for the youth they have cognitive development, they have life skills, and youth have the capacity to identify and challenge existing power structures and the barriers to change, and to expose the contradictions and the biases. It is the blessed power to the youth that they are critical in their thinking. Change makers. Young people also have the power to act and mobilize others. Youth activism is the rise the world over, blessed and broader connectivity and access to the social media. Innovators, in addition to bringing fresh perspective, young people often have direct knowledge of the insights into the issues that are not accessible to the adults. Youth best understand the problems they face and can off, offer new ideas and alternative solutions. Communication outside the international development sector. Too few people are aware that world leaders have come to a historic, far reaching agreement to eradicate the poverty by 2030. Young people can be partner in communicating the agenda to their peers and communities at the local level as well as across the countries and the regions. Young people have ambitions, young people have the energy. So when young people are empowered with the knowledge of their rights and supported to develop leadership skills, they can drive changes in their communities and countries. Youth-led organizations and networks in the particular should be supported and strengthened because they contribute to the development of the civic and leadership skills among young people, especially marginalized youth. In short, we can say the Sustainable Development Goals are a universal agenda for transforming our world. To achieve this transformation, we must rethink the approaches of the Millennium Development Goals era that left youth out of the process. Governments that recognize the value of collaborating with the young people as partners and establish clear and explicit pathways for their meaningful participation from the outset will be much better positioned to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and related targets. Because a good because a goal without a plan is just a wish. Governments across the world are increasingly recognizing that in order for their plans to achieve genuine impact, they need all hands and deck, especially young people with the fresh thinking and openness to change who can help find new solutions to long standing challenges. Future of the world belongs to the youth of the world, and it is the from the youth and not from the old that the fire of life will warm and enlighten the world. It is your privilege to breathe the breath of life into the dry bones of many around you. Big concept about the Sustainable Development Goals. 15 years from 2030, 5 P's: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And the sixth P was participation. No one should be left behind. Sustainable Development Goals, the issues that were included as it has been discussed earlier: poverty, hunger, agriculture, health, well-being, quality education, gender equality, water, economic growth, empowerment, structure, innovation.
Please,
These
Mr. Muhammad, could you help us
sustainable
wrap up in the
goals.
next 2 minutes? The next speaker is
Okay.
around.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
These Sustainable Development Goals are universal, meaning that it is about what happens in Ireland and what happens throughout the world, linking the local to the globals. These are people, youth people are able to participate in the life and the community, fair distribution of the wealth, sustainable economic development, less dependence on the nation and other. So we must care about 7 billion people of the world. which are 80% of the resources of the population. These youth are very important, and we should enhance their knowledge. We should educate them in our educational institutions, in seminars, in public societies, that youth are our value. And developmental education, it will develop the equality, justice, diversity, solidarity, sustainability, interdependence, community, human rights, and participation and action. I am going to just focusing that only quality education, empowering of the youth are important for climate change, food security, agricultural development, and all these will lead towards the positivity of the people. We should start where the young people are, make global connections, highlight equality, diversity, and justice issue, encourage the young people to imagine a better world, support young people to take action for the global change, learn from your experiences, learn from others' experiences, make development education sustainable development goal as a ongoing part, end extreme poverty, fight inequality, address the climate change. So these next slides I will share with you in the group, but concludingly, I will say that we have to make developmental skills among the youth, that will be employability skills. It is teamwork, research, self-esteem, confidence, communication, creativity, imagination, critical thinking, problem solving intelligence, emotional intelligence, positive relationship. These are very important for the youth to bring the positive change, for developing different kind of the sustainable development goals. Knowledge, understanding, attitudes, values, skills and capabilities, behaviors and the experiences and actions. These are very important for the developmental education for the youth. So at the last, I will say that sustainable development goal, these are our debt, hunger, these all can be controlled only by our educational institutions, our kids, our schools, our syllabus, our seminars, our activities. National youth strategy must be developed in every country. Young people must be included to bring awareness, to bring the good environmental practices, to actively globally citizen. Young people, autonomy has supported their activation citizenship. We have to empower the youth. We have to educate the youth. We have to train. We have to develop the skills in the minds of the youth for the developing societies. Learning in a global society, we have to make our youth to identify different potentials. We have to do the SWOT analysis of the youth. And finally, I am in the last, I am again very thankful that young people in political, economic, technological, environmental, cultural level, they can contribute, they can do a lot. And other things that can be concluded in the youth education and their work. So thank you very much. If any my colleague has question, I am here. Thank you very much for listening me. Thank you very much for being patient with me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad, for that wonderful presentation. But so much to pick from your 60 slides presentation. It was well loaded. I want to believe that the General House have been able to pick a lot of things. Personally, I got a lot. We are born to serve. I think that was one word that kept flying through almost all your slides. We are born to serve. Education is a right of every person under the planet. You made that very, very clear. And you spoke extensively on agriculture too. Agriculture being a key stakeholder. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful hearing from you. I just want to ask, please, if you have a question, please drop it on the chat box so that we could just throw the questions to our presenter if you have any question. would soon have our next speaker. But before that, we've been listening for the past 30, 45 minutes, an hour plus to 2 presentations. I just want 2 persons to share. What have you gained even from the current slide we just had now, the current presentation? Did anyone gain anything? Did you pick something strike you just want to share? Just in one sentence, we could just have 1, 2 persons in the next 2 minutes just to share what they've learned thus far. Anyone, you could just mute your mic. Let's hear you. You have something to share with the general house. Okay, I picked this from the presentation we just had. Now, anyone like that? Anybody? Anybody?
Hello.
Okay, we can hear you. Just tell us your name and what you learned from the last presentation.
My name is Selma, and I learned about the 17 goals of the SDGs and why it's important for the youth to be actively involved in this, and how to go about it. But my question now is about the what number is that? The inequality, gender inequality. With our mentality, like both, we have the same problem. Nigeria, India, we have kind mentality. You know, it's supposed to start from family before you can take it to the outside world, because that is very serious. I don't know if it's even possible, but that aside, that is my question. I don't know how that is possible, because we have a long way to go about that. Changing environment
you are
is
making a comment that gender equality must be put in place. What's the question?
Okay, let me just say it's a comment, and it's part of what I learned too in what he presented. So, but the main thing I got is why you should be involved in this, because of we are great communicator, great thinker, leaders of tomorrow. That was all what I picked from his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thelma, for that. I noticed you were the one also commented on the first presentation. That means you've been following us keenly. I think that on gender inequality, we can all, just like our speaker said, we are all active players in this, organizing programs, orientating people. You just said it from the family level, generally, educating people. I know a couple of persons personally that carried out projects on gender inequality, enlightening the immediate community and seeing means they can bring about gender equality. So thank you so much for that. I just want to know if we can have a male to speak to. We've just had we've had a lady. I don't know if we can have a gentleman to say something on what he learned. In the next 1-2 minutes, our next speaker is up just before I introduce him. Does anyone else have something to share on what he picked from the last presentation? Could we have any gentleman in the house willing to help us out? To build the men. Do we have any gentleman in the house? Anybody willing to build the men? We've not heard from the men since this conference started. Anybody? Victor Asi, can you just help us say something? Maybe I should just pick someone at random.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm in exam and I'm ministering exams to students. So that's why I can hear me. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
Sorry. I'm administering examination for my students. I'll be that it may be. I've heard from the 2 speakers from what they said. Actually, from the last speaker that just spoke on SDG, I think the problem we have, not that the SDG is a good initiative, but one, we have constraints in terms of the youth, especially the youth participation in achieving the sustainable development goals. And I think from what he has said, there should be more youth participation if actually we need to achieve the SDG, especially in the area of health and the SDG 3, 6, 7, and 8. because when you have more youth participation, you can actually actualize and achieve that particular sustainable development goal. So I think that's what I can add to what the two presenters have said.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Victor. You made a very clear point. Youth participation is important. So that means at all levels, we must see to getting youth actively involved in the SDGs. Just like our presenter said, we are born to serve. That was one statement that kept running through all the slides. We are born to serve. We are born to serve. So the youth should be made conscious of the fact that we are the key players to the fulfillment of the SDG goals. Thank you so much for that. That was a very strong one. And so in general, thank you so much. Okay, hello. I think someone wants to say something. Is anyone saying something? Hello. Okay, I believe, can anyone hear me, please? Can anyone hear me? It's 11 already. Our next speaker will
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. So,
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
And for as many that have been legislating to have the slides, our media team will see to sending it across to everyone. We'll see how we can put that to play. We are having a very, very important speaker missed us today too, who will be handling the next session. Is by name TPL Agbanusi Uchechukwu Jonathan. Is PhD FNS, FNIM, Chartered, FCAI, FNIPR, RES from Chicago, Innocia, USA. Is a Nigerian from Obosi in Idenli North Local Government Council of Anambra State, Nigeria. He's a seasoned civil servant, and as this, he has worked in many departments of the Federal Capital Territory Administration in Abuja, Nigeria. His work experience includes serving with the Urban and Regional Planning Department, Department of Development Control, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, and Federal Capital Territory Tourism Department, where he retired as a director after 35 years of meritorious service. So we're about to listen to a man that is full of experience. He has been active in the civil service in Nigeria for the past 35 years, in which he finished as a director. In which he finished as the director after 35 years. Dr. Agbanusi was the former national president of the Nigerian Environmental Society, the former director of FCT Tourism Department, and former head of Public Health Department, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, AEPD. He holds a postgraduate diploma in urban and regional planning, a postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication, a postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication, a postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication, a postgraduate diploma in pollution control and chemical safety from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State, Nigeria. He has MSc degree in environmental management, Imo State University, Owerri, Imo, Nigeria. He holds a PhD degree in environmental resource planning and a PhD degree in public policy and administration from Walden University, Minneapolis, USA. As a scholar and an avid reader, he's currently at the verge of completing his dissertation for another PhD degree in public health administration with the Texila American University. Dr. Agbanusi is credited with notable academic works with over 12 peer-reviewed publications in urban and regional planning matters, environment issues with special bias on climate change, journalism and mass communication, public policy, and public health challenging issues. He was the past national president and a fellow of the National Environmental Society, NES. He's a registered environmentalist with the National Registry for Environmental Practitioners, NREP, Chicago, USA. As a town planner, he's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and a registered town planner. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. He's a fellow of Corporate Administrators of Nigeria and a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. He served as the Transition Committee Chairman of the United States of America Embassy Supervised Alumni Association, called the International Visitors Leadership Program Alumni Association of Nigeria, IFPAN. Is happily married to Agbanusi Joma Joy with 2 children. But no doubt we have in our midst a loaded speaker who has talk of academic endowments, talk of practical exposure, talk of civil service. By all standards, it's a privilege to have in our midst Dr. Agbanusi, who has made out time to be with us. He's a very busy man, and we take it not for granted to have him present in our midst to join us in dissecting this issue of SDG and what the youth have in stake on this. We're so happy to have you in our midst. So I'll be handing over to you, sir, to for us to have your presentation, and I'll be handing over to the next moderator, Imisi, to also take over from me. So please, if you have questions, feel free to drop it on the chat box. If you have any complaints, please feel free to let it out. Imisi would see to attending all that. With join my heart and your heart, we welcome to the presentation now, Mr. Agbanusi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly, sir. I'm so
Okay.
happy to hear your voice.
You, sir.
Hello. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay. You know, I've been saddled with presenting two papers, two short papers, and the titles are Stakeholders Engagement on Environmental Practice and Climate Education and Sustainability. Those are the two things, the two topics I was given to deal with. And I'm going to shortly do justice to them quickly so that I will not take people's time. Well, I started with stakeholders engagement on environmental practice. It is pertinent to note the technical terms used in this particular field of scientific subject. These are stakeholders, engagement, and environmental practice. Well, simply put, stakeholders are defined as anybody who can affect or is affected by an organization, strategy, or project. A stakeholder is a person or group with a direct interest, involvement, or investment in something, and who is affected by other people's works and has influence or power over it, or has an interest in its success. In environmental and conservation planning, stakeholders typically include government representatives, businesses, scientists, landowners, and local users of natural resources. Stakeholders play important roles in defining the future of anything they have interest in, as they involve themselves in the day-to-day workings of such things. Therefore, effective engagement of stakeholders helps these stakeholders to translate needs into organization goals and creates the basis of effective strategy development. There are ways to engage the stakeholders on environmental practice. Discovering the point of consensus or shared motivation with regard to the environment helps a group of stakeholders to arrive at a decision in practical ways that ensures an investment with a meaningful outcome. A successful engagement of stakeholders on environmental practice requires an engagement plan. A stakeholder engagement plan is a formal strategy to effectively communicate with project stakeholders to achieve their support for the project. It specifies the frequency and type of communications, media contact, persons, and locations of communication events. To engage the stakeholders, these processes can be followed. One, they must have to be identified early to know who they are. You must know your stakeholders. Communication with the stakeholders must be organized so as to identify their needs. People have different kinds of needs. The stakeholders' interests must be determined early enough by the use of stakeholders management platform. Everyone has different kinds of needs, but they are all stakeholders. So we must be able to determine early enough what their needs are by bringing them to a platform and aggregating them so that we will know their needs, their collective needs. They should be made to talk to one another so as to manage conflicts of interest. They must be listened to in order to note their views. The person engaging the stakeholders must lead with clear goals and integrity. The stakeholders must be understood so as to address conflicts early. Stakeholders should be encouraged to work with the team formed by the person who engages them. The stakeholders' expectations must be properly managed. People's expectations differ. So we must know how we can be able to manage them. The stakeholders should be involved while making estimates for projects and programs of their interest, as this will build trust. If we go ahead and begin to do projects, saying that we are working for the people who are the real stakeholders, we may not be doing well to ourselves or to that project because it will not be owned by such people. They will not, even when you are doing the costing, they may not have that trust. You do that so that you will inspire confidence and enhance influence. If you build trust in people, you will enhance their confidence, the confidence they have in you, and you will also enhance your influence over them. Stakeholders should be kept engaged through target and thoughtful experiences. You must share your experiences that will meet their expectations. You must lead by example so that you can produce values regularly. If you don't do this, the stakeholder will never trust you. Now, the best environmental practice, for instance, is the application of the most appropriate combination of environmental control measures and strategies. This was enunciated in Stockholm Convention 2009. The environment is seen as an external stakeholder. External stakeholders are entities that don't belong to your organization, but they are impactful. They are impacting your performance. This includes your impact on the environment and the quality of life of communities. It also includes the impact of regulations and media organizations on your performance. Hence, good environmental practice is defined as those actions that seek to reduce negative environmental impacts caused by activities and processes through changes and improvements in the organization and development of actions. Therefore, an environmental impact assessment as a working tool for the stakeholders is that which focuses on the problems, conflicts, natural resources constraints, and affluent discharges that can affect the viability of a project. Finally, on this topic, the roles of the environmental stakeholders on environmental practice involve the preservation of a healthy environment and ecological balances. To promote environmental awareness among the people requires the help of different stakeholders. These stakeholders are the public, the media, environmental groups, corporations, and the government, to mention just a few. Communicating directly with a stakeholder allows someone to learn not only their perspectives, but can provide new information and environmental issues that will help one gain veritable insights for effective decision on risk management, cost saving, making necessary changes, and building trust. And that is what I have on environmental, with my first topic, which is stakeholders' engagement on environmental practice. My second topic, because I was given a very short time to deliver this, my second topic is on climate education and sustainability. On climate education and sustainability, everyone is talking about climate change, climate change, climate change. But you ask the people, what is climate change? They may not be able to tell you exactly what it is. Why climate is defined as an area's long-term weather patterns Education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods include teaching, training, storytelling, discussion, and direct research. On the other hand, sustainability is the capacity to endure in a relatively ongoing way across various domains of life. The importance of practicing and embracing philosophies of sustainability is becoming a greater priority for communities due to the impacts of climate change, declining water supply and species biodiversity, and our ecological footprint. Environmental sustainability refers directly to the effects of human actions on our environment. The main goals of climate education, therefore, include building a sustainable future, inspiring action and practicing influencing skills at the social and personal levels. It is imperative not only to learn to understand climate change in depth, but also to change one's own behavior and actions. Climate, therefore, is the average of that weather, the average of weather of a particular area. For example, you can expect snow in the Northeast or Northeast trade wind, we call it in Africa here, coming through the desert in January, or for it to be hot and humid in the Southeast in July. The simplest way to describe climate is to look at average temperature and precipitation over time. There are different types of climate, which include tropical, dry, temperate, continental, and polar. Climate is the weather of a place averaged over a period of time, over 30 years. You cannot get a climate recording of a particular area, anything less than 30 years. If it's less than 30 years, you are talking about climate variabilities, not climate change in short. When the climate varies, when the weather varies, sometimes people will call it climate change, but it is climate variability. It is not climate change. Climate change will only come after about 30 years of consistency. When someone talks about the climate, he or she is describing the long-term, minimum 30 years, an average weather condition for a specific region. There are different types of climate. These include maritime climate, cold, dry desert climate, tropical climate. The two most important factors in the climate of an area are temperature and precipitation. The climate record also include extreme values such as record high temperature or record amounts of rainfall. Weather is the day-to-day state of the atmosphere. You know, sometimes people confuse weather with climate, and it is short-term. Weather is a short-term variation in minutes to weeks to months. People generally think of weather as the combination of temperature, humidity, precipitation, cloudiness, visibility, wind, and even ocean pressure. The main causes of climate change are humanity's increased use of fossil fuel, such as coal, oil, and gas to generate electricity, run our cars and other forms of transport, and power our manufacturing and other industries. The main cause of climate change is burning fossil fuel, such as oil, gas, and coal. When burnt fossil fuel is released, it releases carbon dioxide into the air, causing the planet to heat up. Burning fossil fuels are leading to increased levels of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which in turn amplify the natural greenhouse effect, causing the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, ocean, and land surface to increase. Deforestation is also one of the causes of this increase in temperature, because living trees absorb and store carbon dioxide. But when we deplete them, when we cut them down, when we fell these trees, we are exposing ourselves to environmental or climatic problems or challenges. Natural systems around the world are being affected by regional climate changes, particularly temperature increases, and that these temperature increases are very likely to be the result of anthropogenic emissions of greenhouse gases. Human health is vulnerable to climate change. The changing environment is expected to cause more heat stress, an increase in waterborne diseases, poor air quality, and diseases transmitted by insects and rodents. Extreme weather events can compound many of these health threats. Human concerns linked to climate change include increased heat, drought, and insect outbreaks, increased wildfires, declining water supplies, reduced agricultural yields, health impacts in cities due to heat, and flooding and erosion in coastal areas are all serious challenges. Recently, it was enunciated that the most affected countries by climate change are Japan and Philippines in Germany. The German Watch Institute presented the results of Global Climate Risk Index 2020 during COP25 in Madrid. COP25 was held in Madrid, we all know. That was in 2020. According to this analysis, based on the impacts of extreme weather events and the socioeconomic losses they cause, Japan, the Philippines, and Germany are the most affected places by climate change today. Presently, it will appear that climate change does not yet feature prominently within the environmental or economic policy agendas of many developing countries, which Nigeria is one of them. Yet evidence shows that these countries might be particularly vulnerable to climate change impacts, and that climate change will likely affect the development potential for these countries. Although as it is at present, human beings cannot stop global warming overnight or even over the next several decades. However, we can slow the rate and limit the amount of global warming by reducing human emissions of heat-trapping gases and soot. Once this excess heat radiated out of space, Earth's temperature will stabilize. Finally, climate change threatens not only economic growth, SDG 8, that is when we check our SDG goal 8, but it will also act as a poverty multiplier by increasing the number of poor people and by making poor people even poorer. That is our SDG goal 1, as well as inequality, SDG goal 10. The main challenges to sustainable development, which are global in character, include poverty and exclusion, unemployment, climate change, conflict and humanitarian aid, building peaceful and inclusive societies, building strong institutions of governance, and supporting the rule of law. Climate education can encourage people to change attitudes and behavior. It also helps them to make informed decisions. Therefore, it has become necessary to take urgent climate action to tackle climate change and its impacts through addressing climate change issues. It is then that a sustainable world can be built for everyone. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a brilliant insight to that topic, and I'm sure we've learned so much, and we should
Thank you very much.
To learn from town planning. I don't know. I think the CPS should be town planner.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm right. I'm right.
Yeah, you're
thank
correct.
You very much, sir. So, does anyone have any question or you have a contribution before we continue? No? Does anyone have any contribution now? Okay, let at least one person tell us what he or she has learned from doctor's presentation. Should I start calling it?
If they refuse to ask questions, I will ask them questions.
Okay, then is it doctor is a doctor. That's how doctors do. Doctor, please ask us question. And somebody must answer.
Yes. Can someone tell me the difference between climate variability and climate change?
Morning.
Over to you. We answer the question now.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Aizo Gionome, and the question you asked, the difference between climate variability and climate change. With what you said, sir, climate variability occurs maybe when there is a shift under weeks or years. Like for instance, today is hot, tomorrow is cold. When there's a shift that's just for a limited time, that's seen as climate variability. It's not over a long period of time, but climate change can only be called climate change if it has come for a long
period for 30 years, not less than 30 years. You are correct.
And also, climate change occurs as something that has been done by human beings. That is a force or a repercussion of the forces done by we human beings on the earth. That was when you mentioned the burning of fossils, our fuel consumptions, everything that we do will have effect over time. You said it can only be called climate change if it's more than 30 years, nothing less than 30 years. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we are moving on now. The next speaker we are having is Dr. Hash. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Can anyone
Yes, we can.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Dr. Ash has a PhD in decision, behavior, and master's degree in international management. Having worked with McKinsey and Compline before pursuing a career in the social development arena. Dr. Ash's experience in the field of public health and management emerges from a range of initiatives, including those of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, PATH, UNDP, IPCF, and CDC program intervention in the US. Dr. Ash has been engaged with the use of information technology for development, education, and geoinformatics, a master trainer in behavior change, communication, and strategic leadership. Dr. Ash has led over 20,000 workshops, events, and activities globally to outreach to youth and communities to promote health and sustainability development. Widely published, winner of prestigious overseas research scholarship, he has been awarded for advanced studies in the UK and recognized for his academic achievement. Dr. Ash pursues interest in research and teaching through ongoing collaborations with universities and institutions. Dr. Ash has been recognized by the United Nations for his dedication and leadership in their flagship publication known as Portraits of Commitment. He is an associate fellow of the World Academy of Arts and Science. Dr. Ash serves on the board and advisory groups of several organizations worldwide. Permit me to welcome this afternoon, I don't know, we are still in the morning here in Nigeria, so permit me to welcome Dr. Ash to speak now. Sorry, I can't pronounce your surname, that's why I stick to Dr. Ash. I think I can pronounce that.
Not at all. Thank you for the very, very kind introduction. And I'd like to convey my heartiest congratulations to all of you. And especially I'd like to say, I'm so very proud of our brother, John Abbasi, and to each one of you young leaders who are at the helm of the the much needed change, and very importantly, the action to protect our planet. So thank you very much for this invaluable opportunity to be together with you here today. And based on the special request that's been made of me, I will talk a little bit about two things in this particular session, and then I will continue the conversation later, just a little bit later. But I'd like to say that, you know, I'm here to talk to you a bit about the Sustainable Development Goals, and very importantly, the importance of climate leadership and action. So with that, I'm going to share my screen to get us started. And again, I want to say this is the start of our conversation on this very important issue. Let me just get this in screen slideshow view. So, oh, wait a minute. Here we go. All right. Well, first of all, yes, a very good morning to those who are still in the morning, and those that are afternoon, and there may be some that are sort of middle of the night. So just warm greetings to each one of you, and I hope this finds you safe and healthy. Like I said, I'm going to talk to you about the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'd like to start with a quote shared by Mahatma Gandhi, which says, and I quote, "There is enough earth for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed." And I think that this really lies at the heart of what the Sustainable Development Goals are about. And you'll know in a minute why I'm alluding to this as well. Just to provide a little bit of a prelude, the important thing is that, you know, we started with what were called the Millennium Development Goals, as many of you would know, and then those were predecessors to what is called the Sustainable Development Goals today. The Millennium Development Goals, which ran from 2000 to 2015, and the Sustainable Development Goals, which actually have several differences over the MDGs, as they're known, have set out for us to achieve Sustainable Development Goals running up to 2030, and it's called the 2030 Agenda, as many of you would know. And what I want to say is that, you know, the MDGs, as they were known, there were 8 of them, and the SDGs, we have 17 primary Sustainable Development Goals, are intended to help us achieve on many levels what the MDGs didn't allow. Very importantly, we're talking about zero goals, which means we're talking about zero hunger, and we're talking about achieving a greater prominence in terms of the goals that we've set out for 2030. These are universal goals, and very importantly, they are also what is considered and is closely embraced as being inclusive. And this is an important point because, like I said with the quote that I just shared with you, that the Sustainable Development Goals were originally brought out by what is known as the Brundtland Commission. Brundtland was the name of a person who was actually the Director General of the World Health Organization at one point. And it's very important for us to understand the Sustainable Development Goals according to the Brundtland report, which is what first declared these SDGs to us as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So in other words, it's very important, while needs may be sort of in quotes, it's very important that we must leave the planet and leave the world at least as well off as we receive it, than to deplete the world, which is really the path, unfortunately, that we've been on, which is about greed, and it's about more and more at any cost. And the cost is the future, the security, the safety, and the sustainability of generations to come. And this is where my call to action to each of us over here, because it's very important that we understand that all of us have a role to play in achieving these Sustainable Development Goals. And it is about being embracing, like I said, and inclusive. We cannot do it without taking people with us. And that is really important for us to understand, that we cannot go it alone. And if there isn't one thing that has taught us this, COVID.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I think I'm sorry to hear your voice here. Abir, could I request you to mute, please? Thank you. So what I want to say is that if there's one thing that's taught us, that our world is very closely connected, and if one thing happens in one part of the world, the rest of the world is going to hurt if it's something that's adverse. So it's very important for us to understand, and I think COVID has been a very important lesson, but I just want us to all embrace that we can only do it if we do it together. And that's what is one of the underlying and underscored messages of the Sustainable Development Goals. And therefore, it embraces all stakeholders, okay? And the youth of the world, every one of us over here, academics, media, businessmen, politicians, policymakers, advocates, activists, all of us have to go together. And what I'm going to focus on is that COVID has certainly created an upheaval, but what we must understand is one of our critical goals as far as the SDGs, SDG 13 in particular, is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. And we know the Paris Agreement has said that we need to keep global temperature increases well below 2 degrees. And then later on, IPCC came out with a report, which was the 1.5 degree report, which is that we need to keep temperature increases to 1.5 and below in order for us, and this is below what is considered pre-industrial levels of temperatures, in order to be able to have a secure future, because we'll still need to adapt to and mitigate to the impacts of climate change. So therefore, it's very important that we focus on this. And I know that the previous speaker very importantly brought up the importance of variations in temperature. And we must understand that there are variations in temperature which have happened over, which have happened over hundreds of years. So centuries and centuries and centuries. And those are sort of orbital variations that are considered normal. But what we are talking about is climate change, which is abrupt increases in the Earth's temperature. And these very importantly are as a result of anthropological effects, which is human impact. That is what we have done to increase temperatures of the planet as a result of our own activities, which is human activities. And we know that over the last century, for example, temperatures have already increased. And I know this is not something I need to get into because we already know we're feeling the impacts of climate change. And, global warming is one of the primary sort of impetus to a lot of the impacts that we're experiencing. And what I want to say is that, again, the orbital variation in temperature versus human activity resulting in temperature increase is very important to differentiate, because we know, and the science very clearly indicates, that 97% of the impacts in terms of the warming of global temperatures is a result of human activity. And I want to just underscore this point. We must understand that there is science to very clearly point to this. And this is not something that's conjecture. We have in fact got enough evidence to support this. And there are a number of organizations, primarily the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that has been doing research on this, and this is well accepted. So I just want to say that, as youth, all of us over here, we are all working hard to either create education in this field or advocate or create impact on the ground by mobilizing communities to take action to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of climate change. We must found our action on knowledge, and that knowledge must be science. And that is a very critical part of being credible in everything we do. So what I want to say is that you and I have been the result of this change that we're experiencing in terms of climate, but we can also be solutions. But I want to just share a few more points so that we understand this. That, since when we keep talking about increase in temperature from pre-industrial levels, what we want to say is that the industrial revolution helped us come up with a number of technologies and a number of tools and a number of methodologies that have helped us advance. And this is the point from which we're actually measuring changes in temperature. So with the use of development of factories and industry, we have started to certainly change the whole face of this planet by cutting down trees, so deforestation, and of course the emission of greenhouse gases as a result of our own production processes and manufacturing and industry. So yes, we've benefited because we've got, for example, this technology that allows us to connect. We've got cell phones, we've got artificial intelligence, and we made a lot of progress. There's no debating that. But we must understand, what progress really means. If we're looking at only the benefit of, say, cell phone technology, computers, and such, yes, we made progress. But on the other hand, we've also damaged our entire ecosystem as a consequence of human activity. So what I want to say is that we have learned that natural resources can be used to our benefit, and we all know that there's been a lot of deforestation. We have also released greenhouse gases into the atmosphere as a result of these industrial processes. And I want to say that, these gases are what, especially in excess, are what are dangerous to our planet. And that is what's causing the warming. And this has happened as a result of our demand for fossil fuels. Okay, these fossil fuels are what we have built our cars and our transport. And we must understand what are the primary sources of consumption of these fossil fuels. Transport, for example, is a big one. Electricity, our own industry has extensively sort of leveraged fossil fuels. Also, we must understand plastics, which we know are a very big issue, are basically solidified fossil fuels. So, we have been consuming fossil fuels. We've created a lot of pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, and that has warmed the environment. And we must also understand that greenhouse gas emissions are different forms of emissions. So we have carbon dioxide being the primary one, but we also have methane, nitrous oxide, and others. And so therefore it is this combination and composition that are creating the heat and warming our planet, and the warming is then resulting in all the other adverse effects that we're now trying to mitigate and adapt to. But what I also want to say, very, very importantly, is that 3/4 of the ocean, of the planet's surface, is ocean. And the heating is actually causing a great deal of absorption of carbon dioxide within the oceans, and the warming of the ocean as a consequence, and acidification, because as temperatures are rising, the ocean is becoming acidified, and marine life is changing completely. And we are finding, obviously, there's an extinction. In fact, we on a daily basis are creating an extinction of 150 to 200 species of flora and fauna, which means plants, trees, animals, species on a daily basis for permanent extinction. And the ocean and its biodiversity has taken a major hit as a consequence of these rising temperatures. So our own existence is very, very highly dependent on a healthy ocean, because 50% of the Earth's oxygen emerges from the ocean. So we must understand that if we, like they say, no blue, no green, we will not have a planet if we kill our oceans in the process, which is what sadly is happening at the moment. And what I'd like to say is that, while temperature increases have gone up by 0.3 degrees Fahrenheit since 1969, ocean temperatures, which is very, very significant. And we must also understand that this is also resulting in melting of glaciers. I know we see the very typical pictures, but it's serious, because the melting of glaciers is also, this is just a picture of life at sea that's being devastated, and acidification, which I've talked about. But what I also want to say is that the melting of glaciers is causing sea level rise, and obviously that has huge implications, especially for coastal communities, but it does for all forms of weather patterns as well, and therefore we are having extreme weather events in various places. I just want to say also that there are a number of communities, not only just coastal communities, but many that depend upon life at sea for the food web, and therefore dying marine species have a serious implication as far as our food security, which again is linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, we must understand that these goals were intended to be linked and embracing, because one thing, like I said, going back to COVID, everything is connected, and COVID is only a lesson for us, hopefully, that we will learn, but it's very important for us to understand that. And here's just a picture to show that, the sea level rise is significant already, and that in the last decade, this rate has already doubled. So warming is happening at a faster rate now, which is causing greater risk to all forms of life. And I just want to bring up one point, which is very important, because as the Arctic is melting, and we know it is, there's permafrost, which is the permanent ice, which resides beyond all, below all the levels of ice that already exist in the Arctic. So as we keep going down, when the permafrost melts, that permafrost actually at the moment is holding a lot of carbon dioxide. So when that melts, not only does it melt, and obviously it creates extreme weather patterns, but also it releases more carbon emissions into the atmosphere, because it currently has absorbed, over the past many years, carbon emissions have been absorbed by permafrost. So if that melts, it's going to be an even a greater, more accelerated rate of warming. And so here's just 400 billion tons of glaciers have already melted since 1994, which is significant, very, very significant. And so I just want to say that, these are extreme weather events, which we're going to be more and more extreme, frequent weather events, which will affect us, and we know are already affecting us. And not only does it affect us in the sense of devastating people's habitat, but also creates food insecurity, displacement of communities. We know we have climate migrants now, increasingly so, and so it's going to disrupt our lives as we know it, and already is. But now, here's what I want to focus.
Thank you very much. I sent you a couple of messages.
Your
time is up.
Okay, so I'm just about to wrap it up. Can I quickly just go through this? It's going to take me like a minute or so.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So I just want to highlight this, which is the final point, to say that while we may be the causes behind the change in the climate, we are also able, and we still have a window of opportunity. And this is what I want to focus on: that we have hope, and that our actions can in fact make a difference if we were to act now. And therefore, especially goal number 13 of the SDGs is critical in order for us to address this issue and to do it together. And so what I'm going to say is, it's very important for us to focus on spreading knowledge, focus our action on science, and to take action. And I think that is key. The best way, like they say, this is to quote Mahatma Gandhi again, the best way to find it yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And so I'm only going to say it's very important that we embrace the right values and we take action to address this issue of climate change, and in the process, secure and address many of the other sustainable development goals, which are all interlinked. But we have to move beyond the need to serve our self-interest, but rather than that, do it as a global community and as a global family. And with that, I just want to say that while we may be the cause of this, we are also the solution. We have that window of opportunity, so our action truly counts. And with that, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. What an enlightening and talk. I really learned a lot. So we are going to move fast now because Prof is around, and Prof, I just hope I will not murder this name, but I'll try as much as possible. Prof, feel free to correct me when you come up. Prof Raghavendra, yes, is a old. I just hope I pronounced it well. I had an MSc in Life Science, MPhil in Biodiversity. The Biodiversity Scientist is a professor and head of Department of Postgraduate Studies, Research and Methodology and biostatistics. Oh my God, I can't pronounce this. The Dambansara Ayurveda College. I just hope I said it for Hospital and PG Research Center in India. Permit me to welcome Professor Raghavendra to speak to us. You're welcome, sir. Prof, are you there, sir?
Hello, good evening to everybody. In India, yeah, in my area it is evening.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to different areas. Dignitaries in the forum, warm welcome to you for this session. Myself, Professor Raghavendra L. Basically, biodiversity scientist. I am working on the biodiversity since from the 25 years. My best congratulations to Mr. Obey John. If my pronunciation is wrong, please pardon. The time allotted me now in forum is 15 minutes. I don't know how far I am going to be covered. Anyway, thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to interact with you. From the morning, I think to be 9:30. Yeah. I hope to be covered many things from my end. Anyway, just I want to be interact. If situation permits, I will share my slides also. It's okay, right? Am I audible? Please, anyone of you interact, please. Mine is audible.
Sir, we can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. See, on September 15, September 25 of 15, 193 heads of the states at the United Nations Generally Assembly to set up a collection of 17 goals known as the Sustainable Development Goals, simply called it as the Global Goals. Okay, today is the day. The SDGs and their 169 targets form the core of the resolutions 71 of the United Nations, which is breakthrough the agreement called the Agenda 2030. The goals are to be achieved by all member states by the year 2030. They are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity. The goals are the broad, interdependent, and cover social, economic, and the social issues, and making them work is everyone's responsibility. I hope I am correct. Right, Mr. Osh? The previous lecture we heard. Right, good. Yeah.
This is Prof still there.
No, I want to share the screens.
Okay.
That's
what you've been enabled to.
No, it's audible now, please.
Yes, you've been enabled, sir. So you just use the share icon.
Yeah, I'm sharing, I'm trying, but some network issue maybe. Now requesting host to just allow me to share here.
So you have the permission to share the screen.
But it's not sharing here, no?
No. Can you see a green button at the bottom of your screen, which says share screen?
So this is one, no?
No, sir. We can't see your screen.
No?
No, sir.
Huh?
So maybe you can drop your presentation in the chat box and I will share the screen.
One second.
Okay, sir.
1 second, please, please, please. Okay.
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Right, right. One minute, madam, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm audible also, no?
Yes, sir.
Right, right, please. Right. Now I think it's okay now.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Great.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Yeah. Right. What is the new and different about the 17 SDGs? That's very important. The word is called the universality. The first and the most important, these goals apply to every nation and every sector, cities, business, schools, organizations, all are challenged to act. This is called the universality. This is very, very important as we are discussing about the SDGs today. Okay, good. Integration is very important. Second point. Okay. Second, it is recognized that the goals are all interconnected. In a system, we cannot aim to achieve just one goal. You must achieve them all. This is called the integration. Universality, integration, and finally, the word is called the transformation. It is widely recognized, and achieving these goals that involves making very big fundamental changes in how we live on the earth. Very important. This is called transformation. So, friends, universality, integration, transformation, this is very, very important. So, this span of 15 minutes, let us take a tour. I call it as tour. Please don't think so. Okay, good. What is the one called the poverty? Right. Me to say that very, very important thing. What is the term called the poverty? Poverty is defined as income less than the 1.25 USD per day. The targets for this goal that includes a world where the poor are not vulnerable to climate change and have equal rights to economic resources. I will repeat it. The poverty is defined as the income less than 1.25 USD per day. The target for this goal include a world where the poor are not vulnerable to climate change and have equal rights to economic resources. Very, very important. Economic growth, very good, must be inclusive to provide the sustainable jobs and promote equality. These goals, very, very important. promote to eradicate extreme poverty. We hope to be by 2030. Very, very important. See, and hunger, achieved food security and improved nutrition, promote the sustainable agriculture. This is the view. Okay, good. Important things to be noted. End the hunger, right? Next. Third is ensure the healthy lives and the promote the well-being for all the ages. Very, very important point what we are discussing. Okay, ensure healthy lives and promote the well-being for all at all ages. Be underline this word. Very, very important. It means to say that ensuring the healthy lives and promoting the well-being for all at all ages is essential to sustainable development. Goal that includes call for the universal health coverage, increasing the healthcare workforce, reducing the illness and death by the pollution, comprehensive agenda. Very good. Or tackling a wide range of global health challenges. You include everything: AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis. Very important thing. You can add up. Okay. Vaccinate your family to protect them and improve the public health. Very, very important thing is, now we can include the pandemic also. Vaccinate your family to protect them and improve the public health. Very, very important point to be noted. Okay. Next important thing is ensure inclusive and equality education for all and promote the lifelong learning. Very, very important point. Obtaining a quality education is the foundation to improving the people's lives and sustainable development. Targets for this goal include the need for access to university level education, vocational training, entrepreneurial skills, help children in your community to read. Very, very important. Okay, good. Next is achieve gender equality and empower women and girls. Very important point to be noted. See, we have 17. Now we are discussing about achieve the gender equality. Very important point. Okay, and empower all women and the girls. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human rights, but is necessary fundamental foundation for a peaceful, prosperity, sustainable world. So no time. I know the time restriction for me. Just I am pushing the one. Okay, ensure access and the water is sustainable for use. Mean to say that for all to be noted the point here. Mean to say that clean, accessible water for all is an essential part of the world we want to live in. Very important point. Okay, target for this goal include the programs that provide the access to basic technologies like toilet or the latrines, as well as protecting the ecosystem that provide the water. Avoid wasting the water. Okay, good point to be noted. Next, ensure, very important point to be noted. Ensure access to the affordable, reliable, sustainable, and the modern energy for all. Modern energy for all. Mean to say that energy is central to nearly every major challenges. Every major challenges and opportunity. About 1.3 billion people globally have to no access to electricity. Please note this point. About 1.3 billion people globally have no access to electricity. Target for this goal emphasizes a conversion to renewable resources and a dramatic improvement in efficiency everywhere. Important point to be noted. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Next, promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and design to be noted point. Okay, promote sustainable, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and provide employment and decent work for all. Sustainable economic growth will require societies to create the conditional that allows people to have quality jobs. Quality jobs. this goal targets closing that gap using the innovations as well as separating the growth from ecosystem degradation. So build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization, the foster innovation. Foster innovation. Important point to be noted. I mean to say that the foster innovation. Investment in infrastructure are crucial to achieving the sustainable development. Sustainable development targets for this goal include fostering a more innovative and environmentally sound approach to industrial development. Industrial development. Okay, reduce point number. Okay, reduce the inequality within and among the countries. The world is massively unequal. I'm sorry. The world is massively unequal. To reduce inequalities, policies should be universal in principle, paying the attention to the needs of the disadvantaged and the marginalized population. Very, very good point to be noted. Okay, next point to be noted about make cities and human settlement include the safe, resilient, and the sustainable. What do you mean by this? There needs to be a furniture in which cities provide opportunities for all with access to basic services, energy, housing, transportation, and more. Transportation and more. That is the point to be noted. Okay, right. Yeah, next. Take urgent action to combat the climate change's impact. We note this point. Take urgent actions to combat climate change and its impact. Climate change is global challenge that affect everyone everywhere. Okay, this goal has an asterisk as it refers the Paris Agreement of December 2015, which guides the nations to jointly commit to, okay, limiting the global warming to not more than 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, this we discussed. Okay, fine. Next important point to be noted. We to say that, right, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and the marine resources for sustainable development. What do you mean by that? Careful management of this essential global resource is a key feature of the sustainable future. Be underline my statement. Careful management of this essential resource is a key feature of a sustainable future. The world's oceans are the overfished under the protected and the stressed from climatic change and pollution. The target for this goal that include research and learning to find out more about what lies beneath the oceans so as to better save them. Avoid plastic bags to keep the ocean safe and clean. What do you mean? Avoid plastic bags to keep the ocean safe and clean. Okay. Next, we are concluding a few slides. We need to say that protect. Sustainable, okay? Sustainable. Protect, restores, over, right? Right. Sustainable, manage forest, combat deforestation, halt and reverse land degradation, halt biodiversity loss. Okay, good. Right. Promote just, peaceful, and inclusive societies. The access to justice for all and building the effective, accountable institutions at all levels. Targets for this goal include reduction of violence, end to the torture, reduction of corruption, as well as the creation of institutions and governments that work for everyone. Use your rights to elect the leaders in your country and the local community. Important point to be noted. Okay, right. Mean to say that, right, revitalize. Revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. Mean to say that, friends, from this, we'll conclude a short what you call it as the my talk. So thank you very much, because from the morning we are discussing these things. Only things to be given me is to be 17 SDGs to be interact with you. Thank you very much for Ms. John giving me an opportunity to interact with you. Thank you one and all. All the dignitaries who is in the forum are my best wishes. All the best. I'm concluding now. Time allotted me is the 15 minutes. It's time to be limited over, right? Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you so much, sir.
I have to thank Madam. Thank you one and all, please. If any mistakes, please pardon me.
No problem, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for this.
Thank you,
time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are going on to the last speaker, after which we'll have our general discussion for today. And the person is Rahman Fahim. Is an SDG advocate working for mental health advocacy, formed Turn to Positive. Also, regularly participates in particular UN projects like the UNEP, Anatomy of Lifestyle, often contributing to the UN Youth Level Policy Meeting. Lastly, attended at UNEP Meeting Strategy Meeting as an accredited NGO. And today we'll be talking to us about the 5 pillars and 5 principles of SDG. Permit me to welcome Mr. Rahman Fahim for his presentation.
Hello everyone, thanks for the nice introduction. I'm Faiz Rahman Fahim from Bangladesh. So basically, all of you are able to know what the SDG, how the SDG come from the Millennium Development Goals. Now I'm going to talk about a basic, that means the 5 pillars of the SDGs. And trust me, you are going to learn practically and also theoretically. Okay, I want to share my screen. Host, please allow me to share my screen because I cannot share it now. Am I audible enough?
Yes, sir, you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are you able to see my screen? Is it visible now? Hello.
Visible from my hand now.
Okay, it is visible. Okay. So there is a very clear introductions about the 7 SDG goals from the Professor Raghavendra, sir. And I want to introduce myself. I'm Faizur Rahman Fahim, and you can call me Faizur. I'm from Bangladesh. So I'm a graduate student, and now I'm actually a master's degree student, basically. So I'm a graduate student from international relations. Currently, I'm doing my master's at healthcare management. I also took a diploma at clinical counseling. So I mean now recently I'm working as a movers facilitator, and also I am a founder of a Turn to Positive, which is a mental health service and tech entrepreneurs. So we basically do the talk-based therapy sessions. Okay, let's back to the slide. Okay, so we all know about the SDGs. Past 2 hours, we are talking about the 7 SDGs, and there is a lot of good explanations from the Dr. Okay, could you please mute yourself? Hello. Host, would you please mute him or her? Okay, let's continue. So we got a very much nice explanations about the SDG 13s and all other stuff. So now talks about the basic. The basic is about why the SDG is made. There is 5 principles based on the SDGs made. So that is the universality, leaving no one's behind, inclusiveness, multi-stakeholder partnership. We know, we actually learn a lot about multi-stakeholder partnership from the Dr. Agban, sorry, I'm spelling not correctly, Agabanusi, and also last number is integratedness. So what is the universality actually? The universality is like there is 17 goal which is applicable for the all country, all context, and all time. And the 7 goal is made for the all countries. That means if you are from indigenous people and you are from the marginalized people and from any back countries or developing countries, it is applicable for the all countries. For these reasons, it says leaving no one behind. And another point is inclusiveness. Is an agenda participation for the society. That means the SDG is made for your people. You people will work for it. You people will achieve it, and that time you are going to work for it so that we can able to achieve SDG 17 goals. That means your little step can able to bring a huge impact on our country. And it's also about multi-stakeholder partnership. That means without any kind of funding and any kind of brain collaboration, this cannot be possible. For these reasons, UNN every year hold a multi-stakeholder meeting globally, which is actually helpful for the peoples and also the UN, because UN also need money to implement any kind of development project. Another was integratedness, and that means the goal is all kind of interconnected. That means if you want to achieve one goal, you have to work for another stuff. Suppose if you want to go for education, that is number 2. So without, if you can able to fulfill the need of the foods, then people will go for the educations. So without any kind of zero hunger, without achieving the zero hungers, you cannot force people to go for the equal educations, and you cannot ensure the people, those who go for the proper healthcare system. That is number 3. So all the goals are interconnected. If you want to achieve one goal, you have to automatically go for achieving other goals. Okay, next slide. Am I audible enough? Are you people listening properly?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so basically there is 3 pillar, which we can call economy, environment, and social. There is another 2 additional pillars. I'm going to talk about it later, but let's talk about the economic, environment, and social issues. So economic is all, so what is the social first? Let's talk about the social. Social is all for the people. That means the goal which is developed for you people, and that is ultimately bring a good positive impact on society. And economic is for prosperity. That means you have to gain money for your living. You have to gain money for your country's development. And many African countries, we all know that there is a huge kind of natural resources, but they are cannot able to develop because of the other things. And also there is another kind of the number 3 is environment. So another thing is like, if you go for extraction for natural resources, you also think about the society, you have to think about environment. You also have to think about your animals, because there is a lot of animals are in our diversity, in our world actually, because there are extinctions because we do not concern about environment. Okay, so there is another two additional pillar, which is partnership and the peace. Okay, in the light blue part there should be peace. I forgot to mistake and added the word peace. So why the partnership is needed? Because the partnership is needed because we cannot able to do anything with our own efforts. We have to collaborate with other things. We have to share the ideas that will able to bring the peace. So there is all kind of linked or interlinked. If you go for society and do not take care of environment, you can able to gain the all SDG goals. So I want to ask one question. Do you ever this kind of question ever rise on your mind? Why the country's initiative cannot able to achieve your goals? So because it's only possible because when the development project is planned, sometimes one point is missing. Suppose social issue is missing, economic issue is missing, or environment issue is missing. Most cases we see we neglect the environment and social issue. We only focus on climate economic issue. That's why most development project cannot gain its sustainability. Okay, so there is actually 17 goals. So if we look at the chart, goal number 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. This is all talk about the social. That means it's developed for the people. That means its core essence is for the people. You have to work for the poverty to prosperity. You have to eradicate hunger. You have to reduce the disease and remove the ignorance and demolish the inequality. And this all for the human integrity, human rights, and their basic needs. So we can say SDG 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. These are for the people. And if we can able to bring a good relations and good impact for the people, ultimately it bring a good impact on social issues. And if we look about the SDG goal number 6, 12, 13, 14, and 15, it is developed for your planet. You have to also take care about your environment. Okay, so that's why it's developed for your it's those SDG goals is developed for your environment. So you have to work for safe drinking water. You have to work for sustainable production and consumptions. Now, now we are talking. Now this meeting is mainly focused on the climate. So you have to work for the favorable climate situations and ocean economic system and the land ecosystem. And the last one is, as our much desired and most uh, you can say the most diplomats focus on economics, that is the prosperity. So if we look at the SDG chart, the SDG 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, those are developed basically for the prosperity, that is unsustainable to sustainable and affordable energy. So SDG 8 calls about the unemployment to employment and economic growth. So this is the main issue. So if we think about to develop any kind of development project, we have to balance all those things. And if we do not balance, the ratio will be slighted down in one side. And this will bring an uncatastrophic effect on our society. So if we see about the case study that is about the China's economic growth, we all know that China is open and working for the decent SDG 8, that is decent work and economic growth. So their GDP is growing, their infrastructure is growing, they are investing many Asian and African countries, and they actually want to control the economy. They built a string of pearl, then they also linking the old ancient Silk Road in a new way. So ultimately, this brings a lot of catastrophe effect on China. Look at their health issue, and one report says the Chinese people have to spend $15 trillion annually for their health concern. So actually, this is concerning and affecting their life and their people's life, and they also have to work for their clean water and clean air. We all know that their air is also very much polluted. So we can say Chinese is gaining the GDP, but they are not going for the sustainable development goal effects. But the good news is that China is also a member of UN. China is also a member of UN. China is also a member of UN, and China.
Okay, begin.
Okay, would you please mute yourself? Hello.
Okay, jiya kawo na baka isa. Na baka isa. Yeah, you know.
Would you please mute him?
I'm a form in the meeting. I need situation. I kawo zai sa form.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahman.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Actually, would you please ask him to mute?
This is Mohammed. Please, can you go on mute? Mohammed Galadina, please go on mute. Please, can you kindly help?
Okay. Thank you, host. You did a very good job. Actually, this is very much annoying when someone unmute themselves and start talking their homebound talks, and I don't know why they want to share their household talks to us. Okay, let's continue. So actually, China is also a member of UN, and that's why they keep a commitment that they will reduce their carbon reductions. So that was very helpful if they're able to do that in their threshold and their limited time. So actually, the other two parts are like peace and prosperity. That means all the three pillars are basically focused to reduce conflict, war, and injustice, to bring the peace, sustainable development, and sustainable developments, and collaborate and jointly bring all countries in single place. And the partnership is for UN make any kind of declarations and any kind of amendment in the high table talks. That is the top-notch level, and the order should be come from the top to lower level. That means the partnership should be local to global levels, so that the distributions of power, distribution of the wealth can be flow from the top to bottom level. So that is an integrated chart we are seeing now, the prosperity, people, and planet, and that will ultimately bring the peace and partnership. Okay, so basically we all work for SDGs, and we actually don't know that we work for the SDGs. So actually I want to know, what action have you taken in your life that is even a small little step that is related to SDGs? And I assume that you most people actually don't know that they contribute at the SDGs level. But now after these discussions, now you understand that, oh, I did that thing, it is related to SDGs 3-number goals, and I did that thing that is related to SDG 30-number goals. Okay, I want to know from you about this issue, what action you have taken in your life that is related to SDGs goal. And after this discussion and after your learning, I want to know what SDG action you are going to take after this session. Okay, anyone want to share? And moreover, you can ask any question if you have any. Okay, I want to ask question to Gulshanara. Would you please share with us what action you have taken in past that is related to SDGs?
So who is answering that question for us?
Yes, it's a question for you, for all of you.
Yeah. Someone should please answer the question for us.
Okay, the question is like what action you have taken in your past life that is related to SDGs. And second question is what SDG action you are going to take after this discussion session.
I think I want to say one or two things about the first question. What have I done?
What have you done actually in past related to SDGs? Okay.
Then, sorry, the call came in. The call came in. So I've done something on waste management, which is in relation to climate change, quality education, which involves using recyclable students in low-income communities using
Okay,
recyclable.
Lawal, actually I have a okay, Lawal, I got it. What specific work you did for waste management?
Okay, what I did for waste management. I'm an advocate for proper waste management, and also I've engaged in cleanup activities,
Okay.
and also encouraging people to recycle. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good, valiant job you have done. Okay, anyone want to share? What
Can I
is
share my own experience? Can I share my own experience?
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, obviously.
Okay, if I might get the question, you said, what have we done so far with SDG? Well, over here in Nigeria, we are trying to make sure in our
Mr. John, are you
Obviously,
there?
I cannot hear you properly.
I think his network is.
environmental awareness. We have been involved in different activities. You know, the government, like I usually say, cannot do everything for us. In our little capacity over here, we have gone out for environmental awareness. We have meet the market women, the students. We have told them on the SDG goal. And this program is one of the motivating factors that will motivate us to do more. So this is a little experience I know I in partnership to achieve the goal. So we are working with this goal, trying to see how to achieve it over here in Nigeria with our team members and then our co-workers. Thank you so much.
Okay, obviously, I got it. Okay, do you have any participants? Do you have any kind of question? Because my presentations is finished. Do you get the 5 point? Actually, the 5 pillars of SDGs. That is social, environment, economic, and peace and partnership. That is the
Hello,
basically 5 pillars. That is the summary of my presentation.
Hello, we have a hand here.
All right,
Dr.
thank you very much.
Please, we have a
Please,
hand.
can we have the last presentation? Let's have the last presentation. We still have about 10
John,
minutes.
I can hear you.
Interaction.
Please, we have a hand that is there. Let's give him opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Firstly, I want to really appreciate the facilitator and the moderator of this
Mr.
initiative.
Rafe.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rafe, and I'm from Nigeria. I said I want to firstly appreciate the facilitator and moderator in this great initiative. My question is to the facilitator. The question goes like, okay, can we say Nigeria, like entrepreneurship, is a tool for national development, or how can we explain that entrepreneurship is a tool for national development? Because yeah, we see a lot more issues and the government into diversifying. I don't know, because we still have a lot youth force, and looking at the statistic of population who are unemployed, they are the youth. So they are saying, okay, let's go into entrepreneurship, skills acquisition, when there's no enabling environment. So that's my question. Is entrepreneurship a tool for national development here in Nigeria? Please, thank you.
Yes, Rafael, I got your question. Entrepreneurship is a tool of development for Nigeria. Yes, I completely agree with you. So basically, you can say if you want to develop any kind of business that is related to economy, that is related to environment, you need a proper investment, you need a proper backup. So at that time, you can say, did the Nigeria government actually helping us? Did any kind of private organization actually helping us? So I don't know that kind of situation, that kind of conditions that Nigeria government is providing you or not, or any kind of private organizations is providing you or not. But there is ILO. ILO recently opened and decent work for the youth. You can search it on Google. ILO decent work for the youth. That is will provide you the free course and any kind of job link for the youth. And also some in yearly basis, UN actually open a pitch program. That means you give your entrepreneurship idea to any UN organ, they will fund you. So that is you can get support directly from any UN organ. Actually, they also provide you opportunity to directly getting any kind of investment from the stakeholders, from the UN stakeholders actually. That means yeah, UN actually have a lot of good relations with other stakeholders, so they actually bring this opportunity. So you have to search on these things. But I think Nigeria government is also develop one kind of entrepreneurship program for the youth, just like in Bangladesh we have A2I. That means if you have any kind of business idea, government will fund you, government will give you any kind of various kind of opportunity. They will give you mentorship. So you have to search on these things. But entrepreneurship, developing an entrepreneurship is quite hard for the youth. Actually, you are aged between 20 to 30. Okay. Rafael, I think you got my answer. Okay.
Yeah, I did. You explained it the way I understood it, well digested. Like, but my whole concern is how would we achieve this between now and 2030 sustainable development goal if we do not experience peace, if there's no respect for diversity? We still have a lot more issues affecting year over year in Nigeria, a lot more of environmental issues, climate actions, and a lot more issues when it comes to social justice. You understand? Because we say we are independent, and we do not experience independency because you there's no like freedom of speech even when you have the freedom to speak. You understand? So a lot more issues, and I would it's a suggestion if that also could be channeled to the appropriate quarter where they can also think or restructuring when we terms reconciliations, when they have to discuss this over here at the lower assemblies, where they have to enact some policies that will take in the youth into consideration and terms to train them, bring a lasting positive initiative in them, at least make them have this sense of well-being potentiality, because we have been currently I've been a lot more involved in a lot more of these conferences, and it has been a life-changing one. But how many of us are aware? How many of these people are aware of this great initiative? So there's a lot more challenges that we face. It is more a challenge, like a question to say, but it's just for me to express it. So it could be channeled to the appropriate quarter, maybe in one or two of your defense, or you have to say something about Nigeria, or you have to say something about Africa, then you know what we talk about. You understand? So it should be channeled to the appropriate quarter, the United Nations body, where they can also think of possible ways, strategies where they can help and that send a message direct to the governing bodies, the policy makers here, so that they can also carry out this training for their youth, especially the masses, for them to be able to like come out and also meet up these sustainable goals by 2030. Hence, we still be moving around the shape, still not getting it. I think that will not be our portion. So thank you very much for listening.
Rafael, I got your point. Actually, no country is perfect. Do you agree with me that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Mr. Fahan, yeah, I think I pronounced it very well.
Faizur.
And thank you, Mr. Raphael, if I'm right. Thank you very much for that contribution. So we are going to the last speaker for today. So we're inviting Dr. Hash for his concluding statement in 10 minutes. Dr. Hash, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much. I'm all set to spend some more time with you, for which I'm very grateful. I understand. Okay, so I just needed a permission to share my screen, if I may, please. And while we do that, I just wanted to say a big thank you to the speakers prior to this session for their words of wisdom and for their very informative discussion. And I'm going to sort of walk us through what I hope will be a final session to discuss the importance of taking action. And again, in continuation to my previous point, I just want to say that we have a window of opportunity. There is hope, and now is the time to take action. And while we might be responsible for and be the cause of a lot of the issues that we are now up against, we can also be the solution. So I just want to say that as young people, we are leaders of today and of tomorrow. And so being able to get up and take action on multiple fronts is critical. And I know we've talked about some of those things over the course of the last session. So I'm going to ask all of you to just reflect for a few seconds and think about, and you can write it in the chat box, or you can write it on a piece of paper, or you can just think about it. What is the one thing that you feel inspired by? And it's a point of introspection. What is it that inspires you? It could be you feel inspired by your community, or it could be you're inspired by the need to promote health, or it may be the need to make a positive difference in the lives of those that are around you. And everybody had that. I just want to say there are no right or wrong. And this is a very critical part of this particular discussion we're going to have, because I'm going to go back to the point that we need to be embracing of all. Okay, and there's diversity in this world, and that's what makes up this world. So we must be founded on principles of love and respect. So I'm going to ask you now to just think about what inspires you, what really makes that difference and switches you on. And keep that in your heart as we spend the next few minutes together. I'm going to go back to the point that, you know, the reason we have the SDGs, the reason we talk about the issue of climate change, the reason we talk about the issue of health and education and poverty and equality and justice and you know, hunger, is because we actually have a range of parallel pandemics that have been playing out. It's just that we've reached a breaking point right now. And so a lot of things seem to be emerging to the surface. But the truth of the matter is, they are fault lines that have existed, which is what has been the fundamental change that we have experienced with the onset of the pandemic. We have come to embrace the fact that there are a number of things that are adverse, that we live with, and we need to overcome them. And they range from issues of domestic violence to hunger to economic issues, which we talked about just now, joblessness, which is related, and also social unrest. And we know, you know, that there's recently been a movement of Black Lives Matter, because there's been this issue of, you know, knees on the neck, which have been there for a long time. But what I want to point out, and that's why I want to highlight the issue of the opportunity, is that if you think back on the moments in history where we've experienced a change in course, like historically, it's been when things have broken down, okay? When things have completely come to a crashing halt or a huge crisis. And then the amazing thing is that we do have a degree of resilience in us, and we have this desire to make a difference. And I'm going to ask you to rekindle that, because we have, whether you think of freedom, our fight for freedom, or you think about the movement around human rights, it has been when people have gotten up and movements have taken place, because people have gotten up and amplified their voices and they've shared their stories. And those have been the moments when people have gotten together. What happened earlier when we were fighting, you know, slavery? We would get together by a fire in the evenings and sing songs, and through those songs we would tell our stories. So these things are very embedded in culture. And I'm just going to say that I don't want to talk about these things in detail, but what I want to say is that the SDGs are embracing of all of these issues, poverty. So when we say we want to leave the world at least as well as it was when we received it, is because we want to be able to make a difference together. We cannot go it alone. Okay, and we already talked about that, so I don't want to repeat that, but I want to say these are real issues. And even if you think of the issue of COVID, I mean, we're talking about working from home, but how many people are able to work from home? So what I want to say to you is, and of course we know we have issues of substance abuse, and we have issues, all these things are exacerbated as a consequence of the challenges that confront us, including, of course, issues of violation of women and children and such, and mental health being a big one. And I know that our colleague who just spoke from Bangladesh talked about the fact that he's working on mental health, but this is a critical issue that faces all of us today. But it has existed over a period of time. It's just reached a pinnacle, right? And so what I'm going to say to you is that we are facing a range of issues, from humanitarian crises to violation, to health issues, to mental health issues. And of course, don't mention the fact that we have a range of people who are facing issues that are health issues outside of the pandemic also. So it's not only to talk about that. And then there's simultaneously great access to technology. And of course, that's fantastic, because, you know, we're able to do things we're doing right now. But at the same time, we have the issue of an infodemic. And therefore, you know, our ability to, fact check, to make sure the information we access is credible. And, you know, we have the wherewithal to do that, but we need to be able to access information and know that it's credible, it's accurate, it's based on fact, you know? And so these are things that we need to appreciate. And finally, I'm going to say, it's very important to understand that it's very easy to point fingers, and we are full of it, because we are always creating disparities between people. We're always stigmatizing people. I mean, even people with COVID are stigmatized. But I want to say in extreme examples, we have people who are, for example, we've known even among the many geographies that we have present here today, HIV has been a big issue, and mental health has been stigmatized, as has of course issues of gender and sexuality. If anybody's a little bit different from the digressing from the sort of binary definitions. So we have multiple levels of stigma in society, unfortunately. But what I want to say is that we've now got to really get past this, and we have to understand that what are our values? Remember what was inspiring to you. What are our values that really bring us together here today, for example? Are we founded on love? Do we really truly care for each other? And I hope we do, because at the end of the day, that's really what's going to make the difference. And we can call it a decade of action. We can call it what we like, but at the end of the day, what are the values that drive us? And I'm going to say to you that, again, it's been moments when things have come to a breaking point, when we have gotten up and taken action. And we can only do it if we do it together in solidarity. And so I'm going to say to you, please treat these moments that we are living through together as a global family, as one when we can get up and act together. And like they say, if you want to go alone, you'll go fast. If you want to go together, you'll go far. We need to go far. And there's no way we can do it without going together. And I just want to say that I want us to be able to embrace the most important values. There are no real differences. At the end of the day, if heaven forbid any one of us gets sick, the same things are going to happen to us. Of course, there can be slight variations, but we're all the same. And we've just got to learn to embrace each other, love each other, and be founded on values that move beyond self-interest to love, hope, empathy, mindfulness, and really truly caring. And if we move beyond where we are, beyond our noses, we'll really go far. I have no doubt of that. And I'm going to ask you, please, to think about what really inspires you. Join a movement. It doesn't matter, which movement it is. Join a movement, take action, make a difference, touch someone's life, stop the disparities, stop the finger pointing. At the end of the day, we are all human. We all hopefully care for each other. We all have families whom we hopefully love. And we all feel the pain when there's loss. And right now, of course, we're facing unprecedented loss. So I just want to say that, think of what we can do. And again, I'm going to say, move beyond this whole thing of myth and misconception. There's just way too much of that going around. We have tools that can do us good, but we're misusing them in a sense because they're doing us wrong. And make a difference in your community, in your home, with people you meet, love, share, cherish, And I'm just going to say that, there's a famous quote I want to share. As the world grapples with many unknowns, the one thing that is known is the well-being and progress will require social bonding, collective action, and support. And as Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So I'm going to ask you to go back to that original exercise as I close now and say to think about the one thing that we can do to promote development, the sustainable development goals, the development, the progress, call it what you like, at this moment in time when we're faced with extreme adversity. But I hope we'll pave the way to a bright and beautiful future where we love each other and move beyond self-interest to really caring, embracing, be empathetic, and touch each other's lives in a positive sense. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much. Oh, and I do want to say we have, as part of the pop movement, a pop festival, which is an event where, again, we bring everybody together to share, to love, to care, to amplify your voices, to make a difference. And I'm going to request Komal, if I may, to please share a link to that event. There is nothing that belongs to any one of us. It's about all of us. And so we welcome you, our family, to the pop festival. And Komal, if I may request you please to share the link. Thank you all very much. God bless you. And many more things together.
1.5. Thank you very much, Dr. Ash, and for the goodwill message especially. Thank you very much. We are glad to be a part of pop movement. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our facilitators for today. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the knowledge sharing. I know we all on this call have been motivated to do something about the SDGs now. And by the time everybody come out together to do one or two things, we believe that we are going to achieve the SDG goals in 2030. It's possible for us to come there, come 2030. So, the ground is open now for questions and answers. Please, and we are going to entertain only 5 people, please. So you start raising your hands up now. Question and answer. Thank you. So I'll go to the participant page. The first hand I see is my number 1. Can we? Nobody has question. Wow. Okay, Raphael has a question. Number 1. Raphael is number 1. Okay. Can we have Raphael? Please ask your question in less than 1 minute.
This is where Mr. Raphael hand is up.
Yes, I said it. Raphael, please ask your question or your contribution in less than 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate Dr. Ash. It's a pleasure meeting you again because I've been part of this pop-up Nigeria project at their home, and we've met before. And thank you very much for your mentorial and potential advice and contributions to humanity. My question is a very direct one, and how are we going to help ourselves in terms of collaboration, like collaborating? Because most times we find it more difficult to collaborate. It could be as a result of our own issues when it comes to our inequality or what, because we suffer this amongst us where we tend to, I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Ash, can you hear me? Okay.
I can't hear you very well. I did understand one thing, which is that how can we collaborate was the question, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are right. Okay. Because we have more problems with this collaboration in collaborating. I don't know if it is the keys or the techniques that we are using. So I don't know if you could just show a kind of maybe a key or a technique so we can learn and know how to be effective collaborators. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother Raphael. First of all, I want to say how honored and privileged I am to be together with you and so many beautiful hearts here today. And the other thing I want to say, your question about collaboration is absolutely beautiful. It kind of is at the heart and the core of what we've been talking about. And I just want to say, you know, one of the things that's happened over a period of time, no matter where we look, whether it's in business or it's in the not-for-profit development sector, is that there's been this tendency to compete. What we need to really do is move from competition to collaboration. And I'm not saying that a certain amount of healthy competition is not good, but I'm just saying the spirit needs to be of collaboration. We need to be able to share and we need to co-own. And that's a very key part of what we can achieve in terms of this coming together, collectivizing and doing things together in a sense of solidarity. So for example, this very, very special event at which we are so blessed to be together at right now, I truly believe belongs to everybody. You know, I know we've been so blessed that we have leaders who have made this happen, and I congratulate them, but each one of us has that leadership. And I think the very important thing is that, you know, come together at events like this, meet people, connect. There's no mine and yours in this. It is really, truly ours. And if you can start to see it for what it is, which is that it is ours, this is our Mother Earth, and this is our nature, and this is our biodiversity. We can do things if we come together, but if it's going to be about I said this was my idea, I am doing this, and I know this person, then we're not going to be able to make that progress. So I would just say that, we need to really open our hearts, and we'll see as we open our hearts that not only are we able to give so much more, we'll get back much more, because we've got more space, both mentally, emotionally, and in the sense of our minds and hearts and spirits. So I think that this is a very critical part. Also, I just want to say that, come together at events where you can amplify your voice, you can get to network with people. This is a very critical way also. And while I know that we are challenged by the current circumstances, the one good thing that's happened is that we're meeting much more online. And so we're meeting many more people. Make more connections, learn, and give back. And that is a great way of growing by collaborating. And so I'm just going to say that co-creation is so important, and it'll really come from a place of love. I just want to say, open your heart. I know, Raphael, you're a person who has so much goodness, and the moment you start to spread it, believe me, you will become integrated and one and whole with the world. And the universe is really is your oyster. And I hope the universe is also our family. So I just want to say that, I know you have it in you. You would ask that question only because there's a great degree of sincerity in this. So get out there, meet people, be honest, share, give, and lots will come back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Any other person with questions and answer? It's like everybody understands what we just discussed today. So on that note, I'll be handing over to the president of GCCI Lagos State, Ambassador Obasi John, for his closing speech and contribution. Thank you very much. My name is Lawa Emisiolu Deborah, and it's been a pleasure being a co-moderator on this platform, and also Ambassador Joshua Adebute. Thank you very much for moderating this program today. So we hand over to the president, who will also round up this meeting for today. Thank you very much.
You've done a brilliant job of the moderation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you get a picture also, if you don't mind, like whoever can turn on their camera, just to savor this moment? It's very precious.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
I want to use this opportunity to thank and appreciate our resource persons, at least for honoring our invitation. It's a privilege all throughout the learning section. Like I said, it was interesting, informative, educative. So I appreciate everybody, your time. Reward you. What I want to say is, let not just the earning end on Zoom. Let's extend the teaching to our host community. Like one of our resource persons said, it is the youth that are the agents of change, and the youth are the backbone of every nation. The UN SDG goal, which hope to achieve by 2030, cannot be achieved without the youth. And that's why in Nigeria, GCCI, pop movement, we have been trying
net problem.
that by 2030, we achieve this SDG goal. And so please, what we need from our co-partner is we need your support, we need your help, we need your assistance in order to make sure that this SDG goal is being achieved. Currently now we are in Lagos State, and Lagos working hand in hand. So I want to appreciate, because this Zoom meeting is like a stepping stone, a platform that will effective if it is with practical applications. If we go out and we see a problem and we solve that problem, either in SDG Goal 1, Goal 2, Goal 3, look out for a problem and provide solution for it. And at the end, you see that you will only be remembered.
This is what we face here in Nigeria. Connection issues, a lot more connection issues. So somewhere is there. Somewhere, don't worry, we can hear you. We are okay. He is just trying to express his gratitude and is very, very much is angry with the situation of things and how things could be normalized here in Nigeria. So we are on this together, and we hope we come out from this together. So thank you.
Ambassador John, are you done? I think his network is not so good. You are muted, Ambassador John. You are talking, but you're on mute.
Oh, I said I wanted Dr. Jonathan to give.
You're on mute, so we can't hear you.
I have my name mentioned.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have my name mentioned.
I said, can you give us a brief remark, sir?
A brief remark?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you very much all listeners and all the people that participated in this program. It's been a wonderful one. It's a lifelong experience that we just had. It's very interesting that we have cross-pollinated ideas from various angles, from various nations, based on our individual experiences we have in our various countries, and based on the SDG goals, the 17 goals. So I think we have done great in this outing. I believe that we will do better some other time than this. I just want to appreciate every presenter and even to the listeners. They're all wonderful people. I never thought that we will have a classy presentation, especially from Ash Pashari. You've been a wonderful guy, and so many of you that presented here, Raphael and all the rest. And John Obasi, I want to say thank you very much. You are the one that pushed me into this. I was virtually conscripted by you, John, and I'm very happy about that. I like this kind of conscriptions so that I will share my idea. Otherwise, if I die, I will die with the ideas I have in my head, and I will never duplicate it. So I always like presentations so that the people will share with me, because what you give to people is what you will leave behind, and that is what you will be remembered for. I thank you very much for this program. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Ambassador, let me see.
I'm here.
And please, I want to also use this opportunity with just a minute to recognize the presence of our co-partner, Ms. Koma. Please, can we hear your voice, please? Please, just a minute.
This is Miss Koma there.
Hi.
Yes, go on. Just a minute. Ambassador Koma, meet her. Please, can we hear your voice from Pop Movement? Please, can you hear her?
Can you please repeat, Samuel? Can anybody else repeat what Sam said?
Yeah, after Koma, but reiterated that Koma should speak. So Koma, can you hear sir? Koma, you're mute.
Ambassador Parker, please, can you a minute, please? This is like they're having network issues. I want to appreciate everybody. Our guest speaker, resource person, thank you very much. Ambassador Fumi. seriously blessed. Thank you, everybody. Ambassador Yemisi, please, can you take over, ma? Ambassador Yemisi. Ambassador Yemisi, please, can you take over? Can you hear me? Yes, I want to take a group picture. Please, we'll be taking a group your picture. Dr. Ash, please, can you help us take the group picture? A group photograph. Dr. Ash.
Yes,
please.
I would love to do that.
Okay,
So
okay, stop.
Whoever is able to get their camera on, and then I'm gonna get a picture and I will drop it in the group that our brother Obasi has set up. Thank you. All right, everybody.
Everybody, please, just a minute so that Dr. Ash can take the photo. I'm gonna put me.
Thank you. Each one of you is so special. So let's say special.
Thank you.
All right, I get another picture.
Special.
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 Okay, this is beautiful. I'm gonna share the picture here in the group, and I just want you to know that you're all truly special and a real blessing.
Thank you, Dr. Ash. Thank
really,
you, Dr. Ash.
And
thank you very much.
I want you to know how much I love you and I cherish you. And let's spread the love and goodness to all.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a source of great inspiration. Thank you very much, Dr. Ash.
Thank you. Stay safe, my family.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
God
bless you. I appreciate everybody, our resource person. Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.
To the picture.
Thank you.
Thank you. I say bye.
God bless you all.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.